The intention of justice is to see that the guilty people are proven guilty and that the innocent are freed. Only we have a problem here.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are taking a look at this case from a psychological perspective.
Fun. Everybody was having a good time.
Does Brian Albert strike you as the kind of guy who is always having fun? No. And here's a news flash for this judge. Mental health professionals have solutions.
They made an arrest. I got the guy for Danny.
It was like a mix between sadness and anger because that's the moment for him when he really started to believe that his mother was involved.
The only corresponding records in the other databases are from previous days.
There is a huge psychological component to what was going on here. And according to this group, Brian Albert Jr. gets like the most celebrated birthday hour of anybody ever. Like every 30 seconds, someone's like, "Happy birthday!" John totally seemed like such a cool guy.
John makes me like the Boozey.
Somebody jumps in as a journalist, draws attention to it in a light that is not good for the prosecution. I mean, and there are serious allegations of corruption in the DA's office and the state police.
Oh my God, it's not like his 21st birthday. Hi, loophole lawyer. How are you?
It feels great. It feels good to be back.
I'm going to go with this yours because certainly I've gotten a lot of love from everybody today, which feels nice.
You are very, very loved. And I can't believe we get to spend your birthday with you. Happy birthday!
Text messages read back as if he's the aggrieved party.
Hold on. Have each of you been called murderers?
Who wants to be the one to give Matt the bad news?
I wanted to prove, or to demonstrate.
I don't know where the dog was. I didn't hear any barking. Her name is Sunny. She was named after Santino Corleone.
To the side, in the side yard.
Hey, hi, everybody. There's my Johnny. Hello. That's my Johnny.
Sunny barks if you walk by my window and sneeze. You're not really going to deny this, are you?
It's so weird. It's like the Inside Out, upside down. Narnia.
I would get at some point in a timely fashion and then turn it over.
Know if we had it enough, or we had it all, I should say.
Kill me. Not having any observable or detectable electrical activity would be asystole.
Means death. 3 separate tab IDs. The thing he had to encourage her to do was not to testify.
You know, and Julie Albert responds to the text message from John, and she goes, "My biggest fear in life is ending up on Turtle Boy."
Stop it.
Oh, you never seen that? Oh, I got it.
You're not going to like this, though. You're going to disagree with me on
Just say it. I like the
disagreement.
conflict.
Okay.
Yeah, the disagreement.
People are terrified of him. They're absolutely terrified of him. And how do we know that? We know that from Mega Motion. Just another day for me, right? Which means it was just not an ordinary day for somebody else. Just when you thought you were out, they pull you back.
Karen Reed plots, she fabricates a conspiracy.
I am just a person who likes to understand. That's going to increase the likelihood that we're going to take some action.
Here she is.
My sister Jillian, yes.
Oh, it's funny. But then he's got part of his shirt untucked. His back pocket is kind of hanging out.
Testified that. So, testified that. So.
And showing solidarity, you can see them there.
It's about getting justice for John O'Keefe. There clearly is an issue of integrity.
How dare they?
Justice for all. Only we have a problem here.
Mm-hmm. We do.
It is the defense counselor's duty.
Why is there something playing? Welcome. Hi, everybody. It's our Wednesday night live. I'm very, very excited for tonight's show. There's so much going on right now. My phone for like the last 48 hours has just been nonstop talking about all things Karen Reed and, of course, John O'Keefe. And I can't really think of, there's few people that I can think of that probably know more about Karen Reed cases and now our campaign to see justice for John O'Keefe than she who is about to join me now. Please help me welcome Boozey Beauty.
Hi. Oh my God. It is about damn time we get together, Sam.
I know. It's so exciting. I am so excited to have you. You're absolutely right. It's long overdue. So
long overdue. Just so chat knows, Sam emailed me and was like, I'm fangirling over you. I was like, what do you mean? I'm fangirling over you.
It's so funny, right? I know. Well, I was saying too, sometimes I'm a little slow, like I am. Like it takes me time because I'm, crazy. I've got like 80 different things going on all the time. And so it's only really like the last maybe 6 months that this became my priority. I was, I'm still finishing up classes in my PhD program.
Yep.
So I was not connecting your TikTok, the person I know you on TikTok as, and the like symbol, like the singing, the hair and the singing woman, right? Like, so they were not going together in my mind. And then eventually it all clicked and I was like, oh my God, this is the same person.
You're like, oh my God. So the only reason why I changed it to the avatar is because there's a fake account on Facebook that steals all my stuff. So I had my real image and then they stole my real image. So I had to put in a report to Facebook. Like, it's been a disaster. So I was like, I'm making myself an avatar. So that's what we're doing.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay. That sounds very shady, but I'm not surprised. Crazy stuff happens. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. There's only so much we can do. So
there's only so much we can do.
Well, the avatar is me screaming into a microphone because people keep telling me I'm too loud. So I get louder.
Really? Is that true? People tell you you're too loud? Oh,
yes.
I so.
All the time. And I'm like,
really?
Sorry. No. I'm like, no, I got a loud voice. There's nothing I can do about it.
That's so funny. I'm loud too, but I don't think I've ever been told that. Probably behind my back, but never to my face. So
yeah, it happens. It's okay.
It happens.
And chat is going wild right now. Everyone's like, hi, oh my God, the two of you. I know the two of us together. I know, it's
so
crazy.
Exciting.
This is amazing.
It is amazing.
And I was like, no hold bars. I told Sam, whatever you want, I'm down to talk about. So what I have no idea. I'm going into this. Yes, so excited.
I know. I was like, well, it's endless. I could think of maybe 500 things that we could, talk about. And then of course I knew even from the time that we had emailed to now that there'd be stuff that came up, and there was
a lot. I can't. I'm like, what? And then this, and then this, and I'm like, okay, we have a lot to chat about.
we very much do. And yes, right. So we had talked earlier today about obviously Sean Good and his retirement. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And then we also have to mention that Colin has enlisted in the Army. So he is off to basic training, it appears. Yep. Would like to get your take on that because it does appear to be a bit strategic in terms of the timing. Interesting.
Very.
You can't even make it up. You really can't even make it up.
I know.
Like, you know what I'm saying? For people who have nothing to hide because we're so innocent, have you ever seen anything like this where all they do is obfuscate just right in front of everyone's face?
It's just dodging. Every time it's dodging. And it's like, if it was only once or twice or someone else, but it's always the same handful of people and the same story over and over again. Is everyone enlisting in the military? No. But is it the same type of plan? Yeah.
Yeah. And even with the protective order now that they want to try to get, that will be tomorrow's hearing in the plaintiffs in like the McCabe versus Karen and Aiden case, right? Because there's like 4 different civil cases. And so sometimes it's a bit hard to keep them all straight. but I think, right, there's a motion tomorrow, I guess, being argued because the plaintiffs, want to hide something.
essentially yeah, it's just again, it's strategy, and it's like, is any of it illegal? No, but are they kind of pushing the boundaries on things that they can legally do? Yeah. But like I said, it's the same old dance. It's the same thing time and time again. It's like, all right. And this technically is on this whole hearing tomorrow is on the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. And it's just the way that their attorney Tuxbury is going about it, where he's like, oh, Karen Reed already has discovery. Great. We want that too. But it's like, no, she already has discovery because there's already ongoing litigation. Like, you don't just get to pick and grab,
Right.
you know? So I don't know if anyone saw that yesterday, Aiden's attorney put in his motion to dismiss for anti-slap. So their whole thing, it's big because it's like, first they kind of like backhanded him with the whole he wasn't able to go on the Timcast podcast, which if you want to play that game, well, it's going to be played back. Well, Aiden's attorney did. He played right back because the attorneys for the House defendants, what are we calling them in this lawsuit?
Whatever you want. You can call them whatever you want. I mean, the murderers, I don't care. You can call them whatever you want, dear. Ham, whatever.
Ham. Okay. Oh, that's right. Ham. Sorry. That's a Kyle Sharkey thing. So the Ham's attorneys were like, well, they don't have any motion to dismisses filed yet. So ongoing in this case can go now. We can get started with it. And Judge Gilday, who's by the books, is like, yep, absolutely. You're not wrong because they're not wrong. And then Aiden's attorney was like, yeah, I bet not. And then filed the motion to dismiss.
There goes that.
This lawsuit, like, I know we hear the various attorneys that work mainly criminal, and it's like the civil attorneys are a different kind of beast. Like, watching this firsthand with all the cases has been fascinating. It's just been fascinating to see how everyone kind of works together or don't work together.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad you mentioned that. And that's part of why I really wanted to talk to you specifically as well, because I think you do a really good job of following the litigation piece. And typically, because I'm not an attorney, because I don't really know the law, I kind of leave that to other folks to deal with, right? So I love that you're really caught up on all of that and really up to speed on what's happening. And I also get really emotional about it. Like, I was even listening to your video, one of your more recent videos on this, and I'm getting upset, like activated to the point where I'm like, no, I can't, I have to turn this off. Like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Because it's so upsetting. And this is the thing that bothers me the most. And then I want to hear what your thoughts are on this is the Ham versus Aiden and Karen lawsuit specifically. It is all built on just the most absurd points. It's like, if you really had a leg to stand on, why is it that you have to obfuscate, you have to pull obscure little moments from Aiden's different shows and then plug them in, take them out of context? Nothing that they are even claiming is either blatantly false. I mean, it's either just flat out not true, period, factually, or it's just misconstrued.
Right.
It's like, you're an attorney. You actually must know that this is what you're presenting, right? Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on the suit that they brought?
Not surprised. We knew it was coming. And we knew the bulk of it was going to be blaming Karen and Aiden for working together and trying to prove that. We knew they were going to pull Karen's interviews. We knew they were going to pull Aiden's live streams. Like, this was going to happen. You know, we were warned, as some of their friends like to say. So it's like, here's the thing. I know some people have been a little bit critical of Judge Gilday, and the reason why I'm not is because I have been watching him like a hawk, but I also did a ton of research about him when he was first put on the O'Keefe versus Reed case / Camden Bars. And he has some fascinating previous suits and cases that he's been on, and I'm like, oh, that have like affected Norfolk County, and I'm like, oh, he ruled in favor for that. That makes sense. He's very by the book. So when you have a lawsuit filed, the judge is supposed to take that as fact. So I can understand why some people that are so on Aiden and Karen's side are being upset because it's like, but it's a lie. It's like, I know, but the judge has to take it as it is filed. And then through discovery, depositions, and through time, we will figure out and the judge will see what actually is going on here. We're only at the beginning. We've got years.
Yeah, you're right. This is
go.
the very beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's helpful too. I actually like this judge. I think you're right. My experience of him to this point, I didn't know the history. And also I want to hear more about your history because that's another piece that I'm not sure everybody knows but it's clear, right? I mean, it's just clear from your perspective that you have a vested interest, a personal investment in Norfolk County. And so I would love to hear a little bit more, as much as you're comfortable sharing, about kind of who you are and how you even came to find this case and the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the county. I make it very obnoxious now because some people don't like when I say it. So I always joke around. I'm like, I'm from the county. Don't forget. Thankfully, don't live in Canton. But have in previous times have spent plenty of time in Canton and Stoughton and Sharon. I'm very familiar with the area. Very, very familiar. But yeah, I heard about John's death on the media that day. Like that night, you know how we get all the clips of all the news? It's like, oh yeah, and they found a ring video supposedly. Yeah, I remember watching that live. Like I remember this, and I remember the chatter around the towns being like, "Oh yeah, what a tragic accident! Oh my god!" And then some things started coming out, and this was even before Aiden picked up the case the next year. Like there's been rumors going on about some of these individuals since John's death, essentially. Essentially. And I've just kind of been here listening, taking it all in. And then when trial one hit and I saw some of those testimonies, and what specifically got me to speak out loud via social media was actually the close-up of John's sweatshirt and seeing one specific type of like cut or whatever that was in it. And I was like, you want me to believe that a taillight went in there and then came out like that? I was like, as someone who has dogs, as someone who has worked with dogs, I'm very familiar. I literally have scars on my arm from my dogs fighting. I know what dog bites look like. Sorry, not sorry. I'm not going to apologize. We need to work on that. Don't apologize for things you're not sorry for.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So that all makes perfect sense. And were you somebody who was speaking out, generally speaking, in some way before this case?
Not really, to be honest. Like, my social media started on TikTok from, I don't know, talking about being single and then surviving an abusive relationship and talking about Taylor Swift, like, and just my life. Was I talking a little bit of politics? Yeah, I think that was important during some times, but for the most part, I really wasn't spending that much time. I wasn't I don't want to say obtuse to what was going on because obviously I have my own experience locally, but yeah, I definitely didn't dig in until trial came around and I was like, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, it seems like what I've been hearing is right about some of these people."
Yeah, and then it became important to speak out, right? At that point, it was more than just venting. It's like, wait a minute, something's really wrong.
Right. And then you find out more and then you dig more and people come to you, they tell you things and it's like, oh my God. And even if people weren't coming to me, it is just so obvious. It's just, if you spend just a little bit of time looking at one particular thing, whatever it is you want to focus on, you can literally just string it apart, right? It's just thread by thread. It comes unrolled and it's like, and it's the whole case. It's not just one thing. You know this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and every time I pick a topic and I do the careful like unraveling, I get to the end of that, that particular area of focus. And then I have that palpable like, oh my God, these guys killed him. And I go through that again. Like I have the full almost like a being re-traumatized because I have that full body awareness of like, these people murdered a police officer and then went to great lengths to cover it up and then actively tried to frame a person who they are absolutely aware did not do this. And it panics me. Like it's over and over and over. It happens every time.
Every time. And you find one thing and it leads to 10 more things. And it's like the more questions we have to ask. And I do it all the time. I try to tell people, I'm like, I don't know what this is. I can't say for a fact what this is. I just know it's wrong because of XYZ.
Right. Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of these, like, maybe very, very, very obtuse questions. So it depends on, how far, I'm sure if there's a group of us that got together that are extraordinarily obtuse in our focus, you can just talk these nitty gritty details to forever and ever and ever to try to debate about what actually happened. But generally speaking, right, it's so funny because I used to give a hard time to the people that are supportive, friends and family of John O'Keefe, who would say things about Occam's razor, mostly for a number of reasons we won't get into. One, just because philosophically it's being used incorrectly, but that's, just being in school a long time, me being kind of nerdy. Right. The other is, just the fact that it's so obvious that John was not hit by a car. So that the idea of Occam's razor there just doesn't apply. However, I think in the end, it does apply if we take the car accident just completely off the table and we consider the fact that, the dog actually, Brian Albert has testified that the dog was with him in the house downstairs, that he kept the dog with him after he let the dog out. And we have John's phone moving in a westerly direction towards the house. It's like, even if you just have only those two pieces of information, you start putting Occam's razor. Yeah, all right. Well, the simplest explanation is he walked in, a fight or something breaks out and the dog, inserts herself so clearly right in the middle of it. Right. So it's funny. It's the irony that Occam's razor in a way does apply in this case.
Oh, yeah. And Chloe was the bad dog of the neighborhood. I have spoken to neighbors. That's what I mean. Like, people are like, how do you know this? I'm like, because people talk to me and then I don't call them out. I just keep it in my back pocket for what I need. But yeah, Chloe was like the bad dog, but it's not that she was a bad dog. It's just that she didn't have owners who knew how to deal with a reactive German Shepherd mix, Malinois. I never know how to pronounce Maligator.
I think you got it right. I think that was right.
Maligator.
I think you had it. I think it was Malinois, right? That's how you say it, I think.
No, I don't know. all I know is she's a Southern mutt and she's mixed with two breeds that are working breeds that want to naturally protect the family. Right. And that's what she did.
That's what she does. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Is what it is, right? Is what it is. Yeah.
It is what it is. And so for anyone to think that she wouldn't attack a stranger is kind of wild, considering not only do we have Nicole and Brian saying that occurred at least once, and they excused the human attack on, the human was getting involved with the two dogs. But there's other attacks that they're not speaking about, one of which was in Vanity Fair. Where Kevin Albert called the other dog owner being like, hey, what do you need so you don't, basically report this?
Wow.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that. Was that after this happened? So after John or before?
After, no. Was it, it was a golden doodle. Was it, I might be wrong. I think it was before. It's in the Vanity Fair article though, because, the Vanity Fair article, the journalist had reached out and done her own digging outside of speaking to Karen Reed.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's almost obvious, right? It's like Nicole admits that the dog had gotten over the fence a number of times.
Yeah.
In her testimony, right? So
yeah. Have you seen those breeds jump?
Yeah, and they're big. I mean, this is a big dog. Like the one picture that we have that I'm aware of, that this dog is a big freaking dog. She's a big girl, Chloe.
She's a big girl. But, I mean, I've spoken to people that have been in the house before. They've met Chloe. There's been times when Chloe has been locked up either in the basement or upstairs. So it's like, I think it was hit or miss on who that dog liked. I think it depended on person to person. It wasn't just like
Mhm.
she didn't just like males. It just depended on who was over.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Do you, I mean, we're going to get into the nitty gritty now just because we're already there. So do you have a belief about which time frame the car pulls in front of the house?
I go back and forth between the 21 and 24, to be honest,
Okay.
because it's like I feel like I'm pulled in one direction and then something makes me doubt it, you know? And I see that all the time with myself where I'm like, I don't want to say something unless I can have evidence and back it up. So I don't want to
Right.
be like, it's definitively this. Cause then I'm like, crap, if we get like a new public records request that comes out, it's like, oh no, I'm wrong.
Totally. I get it. Absolutely. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I have said from the get-go, this was fast because I just watched some of your more recent stuff, and I was like, "This was fast. This
It's
was not
fast.
some long, drawn out thing." And
No.
I said that from the very beginning, where I was like, "He probably just walked up. There was some kind of argument. It was a 1-2 punch. He hit his head on something, and he was done."
That's it.
They tried to save him. There's the blood flow pattern on his clothing makes that clear,
Mhm.
and and then something else happened after that, and we don't really know. And then Chloe got taken away.
Right. And then very quickly, Chloe got, yes,
Yeah,
excommunicated from the scene for sure.
yeah.
Because clearly Chloe's not there the next day, right? So and also, and I had seen this from you, Brian Jr.'s car isn't there. Of course, Caitlin's car is not there either, right? Which, we already know because Tristan had it. Actually, I think she probably drove it to Tristan's, but Brian Jr.'s car is not there either.
Right. Right.
So that's another really important little detail.
That's why I go back and forth. I'm like, well, did Caitlin drive her own vehicle? Was her vehicle there? If not, where is Brian Jr.'s car? And
Mhm.
did Junior and Caitlin leave with Chloe to
Mhm.
leave and go back to Caitlin's that night?
Right. Right. Yep. And part of me, I have a hard time believing that Brian Albert is going to let her take that dog alone after having just seen what they saw.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, how could that have been configured? Could somebody have accompanied Caitlin because they wanted just to make sure that she got to Tristan safely with the dog?
And if you think about it too, Caitlin already had her, I'm pretty sure she already had her own German Shepherd at that point.
Oh, I didn't know
So,
that.
oh, you don't remember the whole, oh, here we go. Oh, we're about to get real deep. Caitlin Albert's wedding, she had a cocktail that was named after her dog, Jax and Coke, because her dog's name is Jax.
I didn't know that.
And
Like
then some
Jax from Sons of Anarchy? Is that what you're talking?
I
Like
think it's
Jax, Jax?
Jax, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
But yeah, so some people thought it was like a Chloe drink, but it was no, Caitlin and Tristan have their own German Shepherd. But that's another aspect you can play into it where if Caitlin and Tristan already had their own German Shepherd, and then you bring Chloe into the mix, who's not dog friendly, as Brian Albert stated, what actually happened, and how did they deal with that for a few days? Because that's what I was told, that Chloe was at Caitlin's for a little bit.
Oh, I didn't even know you knew. See, I just always assumed that because it has to be a family member. Who else could possibly have taken the dog? It would have had to have been somebody the dog would have gone with, right?
Right. Yeah. No, if you think of all the players, it's like it doesn't make sense to go with anyone but Caitlin because Chloe and Caitlin were in the house for so long together. That only makes sense.
Right. And now that you're saying they have a German Shepherd, well, that also tells us that she felt particularly bonded to the dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's so interesting. So, that's okay. So that makes a ton of sense. So you had heard the dog was at Caitlin's for a period of time.
Oh, there's a neighbor that saw Chloe. 2 dogs.
Fascinating.
At
a neighbor of Tristan's. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. See, I knew it. I knew. I was like, we need to talk. I knew.
There's like, here's the thing. There's a lot of times, I watch you and then a lot of Sergio's old stuff that I haven't been able to watch because it's like I feel like everyone's making content all at the same time post trials.
Too much.
And I was like, this is too much. Like I had to like
much.
take a break for a little bit. So now I'm going back and reviewing all of these old videos and I'm like, oh, yep, that makes sense for that. Oh, now we know that. It's so interesting how on point you guys are with these analyses. It's like
so helpful. When I had just had the inspiration, I was like, I should go back and just look because we have more information now. And I will tell you that the whole reason why I spent the last 2 years learning to do what he does is because I knew after he put out that I think his first video was Jennifer McCabe's testimony from trial 1. I think that was the first thing he put out that was Karen Reed specific. I think there might have been other things before that. But when I went through that, I knew that this would give us answers. Like I knew it. I knew that he didn't really know the case that well. He doesn't know the details, and you can tell because, he just doesn't know the players or the nitty gritty, but he doesn't need to. And that was so helpful. The fact that he didn't know the people involved and would get things right just based on the language. That's why I said, you know what? If this guy with no knowledge of these people at all is getting this close to being correct, this tool has to be invaluable. And that's why I put so much time into learning it, because I realized like, wow, this is going to give us answers. And it turns out that that's exactly what it did do and will do continually. I'm sure there's a ton more in there that I haven't had time to look at, right? Because the other thing is, and Emily and I were talking about this like last week. I mean, this is kind of I don't know how this could be such a new discovery in my mind, but I think, Karen's team has been looking at something different than many of us, right? Like, of course, we wanted to see Karen be exonerated. I'm not saying that that's not a shared interest, but they were asking different questions. From the very beginning, their focus is exonerating Karen Reed, while our focus is exonerating Karen Reed and figuring out what happened to John. And they overlap, but they're different, right? Yeah. They're very different. And whatever question you ask is going to drive what you end up seeing in a large way. Right. So it's been very helpful to be asking these very specific questions that are separate and apart from kind of specific Karen's attorneys and what's interesting and important to them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's I've been watching and I'm like, huh. Cause I remember it was Sergio was looking at Brian Higgins' testimony in particular about walking into Canton PD. And then when Brian Higgins denied going into dispatch. And I remember Sergio being like, yeah, he's lying. He went into dispatch. He definitely did. There's something else there. And then lo and behold, we get the damn vote to the next trial. Oh, and who did he talk to, everyone? Sean, no fucking good.
Right. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
You can't make this up.
You can't make it up. I had just seen that. I don't know how I didn't see that before. The dispatch, him walking into dispatch. I just saw that recently. I missed that prior. Yeah, he absolutely walks into dispatch. I think he told us on the stand that he just waved at him, right? He just like
they both did. Both of them said that. I'm like, hello? So you're both lying. So what actually was the conversation that happened in there then? Did you guys have a conversation or did Brian Higgins grab something in that dispatch room? That's what I want to know.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many possibilities, right? Why do you think he was there? I mean, I think he was there in part to be on camera during that time, but do you have any thoughts about why he was actually there that night?
I think it was multi-purpose. I think he needed somewhat of an alibi. I think whoever he was talking to on the phone and texting was guiding him to get something because he was texting before he walked in, and when he's walking out he's pulling his cell phone out and he makes a phone call. Then when he's moving the car, he's in the car for a few minutes and then he's texting again and then he goes back on the phone again and then he grabs a big ass duffel bag that's full of who knows what out of his work vehicle. So it's like it's all these things that it could be, but I don't think it's just one thing. I think he was smart in going because he has somewhat of an alibi in some way, whereas Colin and Allie, their alibi has gone to shreds via their own testimony and Life 360 data.
Correct. Yes. Complete garbage. Yes.
Complete garbage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's multi-purpose because I've been looking at those Canton PD key swipes and I'm noticing a lot of things and I'm like, I wonder what they have on the second floor that is so interesting where certain players would want to go up there multiple times.
And that's where his office was, right? That's where Higgins had his office, was on the second floor. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. And does he go up there? He does go up there.
Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
Per the key swipes, he definitely goes up there because even though when you go up the stairs, there's like a stair to entrance. There's an interior and then an exterior stair to entrance. One of them is key swipe, the other one is not key swipe. So he goes up the stairs, and then there's another key swipe up the stairs that he has to use his key card for.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, what was his excuse? He was grabbing a key to be able to move that vehicle.
Right.
But then you don't return the key back, so it's I think he grabbed something else on top of it.
Of course he did. Yeah, of course he must have grabbed something, right? I mean, there had to be some additional reason that he's there. Somebody had suggested a body bag, something to try to contain, John more.
I would think whatever was in his bag was of importance because let's just talk to the chat for a second. If you are a male or a guy and they go on vacation for one night, how much do they pack for one night? I'm not talking about the ladies because you know how we pack.
Yes, we know how we do. That's right. Yes.
And then go back at that footage and see how big of that it's like a big hockey bag. It's not
dude.
like
Yes.
Men usually will have like a backpack. You know, they don't carry all this crap with them.
No, totally. Yeah.
You know? And if you, I don't know if you saw the picture that, supposedly is of Kevin Albert Higgins at the funeral services.
Yes,
Higgins
of
was,
course.
right? He was wearing like a nice like suit jacket.
He was.
Wouldn't you put that suit jacket in a proper suit hanging, right? So I'm like, you wouldn't put that in the big ass hockey bag looking thing. And you also wouldn't put that in the back of your truck. You would put it in just the back seat.
Correct. Yes.
You see what I mean? When I'm going with these things, I'm like, something's in that bag.
Yes, 100%. Something important is in that bag. Something of significance. It's interesting now that I'm thinking about this. Was it Kevin Yellow Cottage Tales who we spoke to, who was saying that when he met with him, so he met with Brian Higgins before he wrote the book that he wrote. This was going way back now. He was meeting with him again, but neither here nor there. They had met and they had like lunch or something. And he was telling us the story about how Higgins got teary-eyed while they were over lunch or at the moment where he started talking about wishing that he had his like bag, his what's it called? Like his EMT bag or his like emergency with him.
Yeah.
Something along those lines, that he had wished that he had been able to help or had the right tools to be able to help, something along those lines, that was like the moment where, but he did mention a bag specifically, which is interesting. I mean, I don't know if that's relevant, but it's just interesting. I'm thinking about it right now out loud.
Well, if you think about it, did he regret not having it at the right moment?
Well, I mean, obviously that's silliness. I mean, I think he's probably just explaining why he's crying, right? I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Like he needed a reason to be crying, and that's legitimate. It sounds good to me. Alan Jackson gets him to do something very similar around a very similar topic. Seeing John's body, whatever. So, but I wonder if that's what the bag was too. I mean, is it possible? No. Thinking out loud.
No, he was gone. No, he was gone.
Yeah, he was gone. Right. Yeah. He was definitely gone. So what do you think about that? I mean, this is the part where I get a little stuck. I have to work through it still. I need to go there and try to figure it out, but I'm not quite ready yet to move on. I'm still swirling around in the testimony of Ryan, Ricky, and Heather, who are all being deceptive about the amount of time that Julie was with them and what happened during that time. So it's very interesting. There's no deception. I actually believe, at first I thought that Heather might have been being dishonest about not seeing John. But when I go back now, the deception appears to be, and this is preliminary, I didn't do a deep dive, but my like initial analysis of Heather from both trials is that the deception is around the conversation that they had and her being invited into the house. Not a surprise. I assumed that wasn't true, or if it was, an empty invite.
Yeah.
But it was no invite. So the question, for me is just trying to figure out exactly who's being deceptive about what.
Right.
My next thing though is the 1227 interactions that Jen is having with John's phone. Because it appears as though they immediately jumped into self-protect. There was no calling 911.
Right.
At all.
Right.
Not even a consideration. Do you think that's possible? That they didn't just decided immediately we're not calling 911?
I think it's possible. I'd have to go back to Jen's step data. Whenever she starts running around, that's when she catches wind something wrong is going on, because she's only fairly doing like a step here, like 5 steps there. It doesn't match up to her testimony of her sitting at the table going to the front door. It doesn't match up. But this has been one of my theories in my head. Remember when she was allowed to delete messages from her children before handing over her cell phone? Remember when she says, "Pull behind me," with pull is 3 L's?
Yes.
Well, there's something Jen does pretty frequently, and the reason why we know this is because not only did she testify to this, but we have other messages that we've seen going around on the social medias of it all, of Jen consistently making incorrect things like via text messages, right? So where like she was going to watch Aiden Carney one day, and she's trying to say selfie, but she says self like plural like 3 times before she corrects herself.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And when she testifies, she also says like, "Oh yeah, I make a lot of mistakes," and she kind of just said as like a little backhanded thing, like, "Oh, I make mistakes all the time when I text."
Okay.
I've been thinking in my head, what if that text message was sent to John, but it was meant to be sent to someone else that was coming to the house at that time?
Who?
Because here's the follow-up.
Okay.
If that's the case, and someone did pull up at 12:31, Allie McCabe's Life 360 has a close end at 12:31 in some seconds. I know. That's what I mean.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's interesting. And the pull behind me text is right around that time too. It's like literally within the same seconds.
Oh, interesting.
12:33, John's already down.
He is, yep.
Colin calls Erin Beatty.
Yep.
And then
yep.
Who does Jen call over and over again in the morning? She not only calls Tom 7 times in a 30-minute time span, but then she randomly calls Erin as well.
So my explanation for that at the moment, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, is that their initial panicked, idea, I guess, because they're not. I say this a lot more recently. They're not the smartest group ever. That's important for everybody to keep, because we want to make this really complicated. I just don't think they're that smart, right? So it appears to me like they may have thought that they were going to right away do the guy never came in the house thing.
Oh yeah.
And they were Colin's calling Erin to say, is John there? Right? Because at first I thought it would be for a ride.
No.
But the fact that, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the fact that the next morning Jen is telling us that they're calling Tom to see if John was there kind of gives away the fact that they're thinking to do that.
Then we go back to the original story from the medical examiner when unfortunately she got objected to by Hank Brennan during trial 2. But per the medical examiner, it's the intake death notification form. What she got out, the Scorty Bello, she said that there was a party ongoing, and there was a fight, and John was walking to somewhere, and then she said there was a fight, and then that got objected to. So we never got a response further than that. So it seems like the original story from the very early stages, this was even like before the family meeting or when the family meeting was going on, was that John was at the party, i.e. 34 Fairview Road, fought maybe with someone. I'm assuming they'd blame Karen. They could have blamed Higgins, who knows? And then that he was walking to a party or to someone's house.
He was leaving.
And if we're going that route, there's two houses he could have been going to. One would have been Ashley Brady, who's Bella's mom. The other one, because this was brought up, was the Currans was with Tom Beatty, and they were at another party. This guy, Brian Hamilton. It's like a 15-20 minute walk, but it's in that same direction. So if they were trying to say he was leaving to go somewhere else, and now Jen is calling, well, Colin is calling Aaron Beatty, and then you got Jen calling. You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, why do you keep trying to pull the Beattys into this?
Right.
Why? And why did they have such a visceral reaction to Aaron sharing that screenshot? What is so bad about that? You all make it look worse by harassing this girl. And this was before anyone was even involved with the case. This was in 2022 when this poor girl had some, disgusting things said to her by certain people that claim that they're victims.
Well, and that's the thing, that's the thing about these people. First of all, I guess in a way it's a good thing that they're just not sympathetic creatures. Like nobody feels bad for them. It's very hard to feel bad for them. Even if you want to feel bad for them, it's very difficult because they're just not likable. They're kind of bullies, right? I mean, even Brian Albert, the way he presents himself on the Boston's Finest, like he kind of presents himself like, the big shot, tough guy, police officer. Right. Yeah. Not likable though. Like some tough guys I feel like are likable, I just don't, you don't get that sense from Brian Albert. Right. It's not a sympathetic group. Colin's kind of a punk, like they're just, it's hard to feel for them, generally speaking. And then, you learn. You see, I think during that time and before Aiden, and one of the reasons that they hate him, they really hate him. I mean, they hate him. They single-handedly blame him for all of this because they thought they were getting away with it that whole year, right? Like you're saying, they had the upper hand. They were like able to get away with making their threats, keeping people quiet, didn't think they were going to pay the price. And then all of a sudden April rolls around and it's like the world must have just come crashing down on them.
Yeah, because we were told via the news that it was this tragic accident and there was footage of it. So you had many in the county that were aware of this news media that was like, oh, okay, well maybe she just got drunk and accidentally did it, because that's what we were told over and over and that
there was
again.
Video, right? Yeah. And even Morrissey, right? I don't know if he alludes to the video, but he alludes to the phone data, says that John was, there's all this stuff that he brings up in that hostage video that turns out, of course, not to be true. And I can't remember if the video was one of them, but I remember it being very early on that, that's what they're saying. That's what the reports are saying. Maybe it was Lally that says it during her arraignment. He mentions it. Yeah. Somebody mentions the video
very early on. Yeah. And I mean, if we're going back to the media, we need to think of what channel reported it first and then what channel was in D&E Pizza. It's the same channel.
Oh, that's really interesting.
This is why when I hear people being like, from the other side, well, they're doing the whole media campaign and they're doing the interviews. You all have done it too. It has been a PR media banana blitz from the beginning. Like this is not, and it's also not a rare thing for attorneys to speak to the media or the journalists of their choice. That is what happens in these cases, especially when you hire someone like Alan Jackson, who's very well versed in doing that kind of thing. So it's like, But who did it first?
Right.
Whoever was in D&E Pizza with Channel 4.
Yeah, guy never came in the house, right? I mean, as long as for them, as long as the public narrative is going in their favor, it's all good. They don't care. They're still threatening people right now. I mean, that's just how they roll, right? So none of what they're saying is legitimate in any way, shape, or form. They just don't want to be called murderers in the public sphere.
No, they don't want people speaking negatively about them, period. They don't want people talking about it unless it's for their good.
Right.
And this is what I've said time and time again, Sam. They do best when we don't talk and we don't look into things, when we don't do the public records, when we don't do standouts, when we don't show up for Karen's hearings or Aiden's hearings or whatever you do, like they are best with us being kept in the dark.
Of course.
So this is why, like, anyone that does any of those things are like public enemy number one. Doesn't matter who you are. So
yeah. And it's crazy to me because, I mean, this is stupid maybe because it's so obvious, but you have people on their side in social media on X saying the most absurd things like, oh, and they'll actually say this. And some of them I think actually might even believe it. Oh, you can't talk about the case with any of them because they don't want to talk about the facts. And it's like, well, how come we're the ones that are paying money out of our own pockets to get these FOIA requests so that we can get more evidence? Like, you don't see anybody over there doing that, right? Like, we're always looking for more evidence. We're still digging in the evidence right now, every day.
Right. Because we actually want to know what the hell happened.
Correct. Yes.
Like, it's not just about protecting this person or that person. Like, I want to know what happened to John, what happened behind the scenes, what's going on within Norfolk County, the Massachusetts State Police, all the way up to whatever political figureheads, whoever this goes up to. Like, this is not just, a group of people that got drunk and someone died. Like, this clearly has much more depth to it than just that. So, and frankly, I think we as the public are owed that, especially those of us where our taxpayer dollars went to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that actually brings us to another really important topic that's relevant right now. So yesterday, I'm sure you saw that Emily C. did the interview with Adam Deitch. And I always get that backwards. It's Deitch or Deitch? Deitch, right?
Yeah.
Deitch,
Thank
you. So, who's like the most adorable person in the whole world. I've been cutting video of him for hours today, and just he smiles, and it's like he's just the cutest thing. But I know that people had mixed reactions to him because he felt like he was saying a lot but not saying anything important. And I've also been deep diving into Greg Conner and his interviews. And the way that I would summarize who these two men are after really analyzing the two of them, though I haven't made it public yet, Greg Conner is without a doubt the status quo. He actually has been running that office, behind the scenes for probably at least since the Karen Reed stuff, right?
It's been like a decade, Sam.
Oh, well, so I was going to say definitely since what's her name, the first assistant Beeland, stepped down or whatever she did was out of the picture. But yeah, I mean, he's obviously ever present in that office without a doubt, right?
Oh yeah.
Like he was Morrissey's guy. And that's the thing, like he's the status quo and he's actually saying that. I mean, if you listen to what he says, his speech is, I have unfinished business there. And I looked at the candidates and said, oh, we're not going to get to keep it going if I don't get elected.
That's so rude, by the way. That's also so rude.
It's insane. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I mean, it's insane. It's bizarre though, actually. I mean, it's bizarre. I mean, he's trying to say that he's like bragging. He's the first guy that decided not to use Michael Proctor in his trial, to testify.
The Anna Walsh trial. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. But he refers to him as Mike. I was the first guy to decide not to use Mike Proctor. And it's like, wait a minute. Wait. The way that you just framed that, like there's such an informality with him and Mike.
Yep.
You're right. He doesn't even see it. He's not even aware that the way he just framed it, this is clearly, so then she picks up on it though.
Yep.
And in this one interview I'm thinking of with Loftus, she picks up on it and she does kind of call him on it. And he's like, oh, well, the most that I know of him is like, I saw him at a barbecue and I met his family and he seemed like he loved his family. And we worked together on Walsh, like while he was the case, and he actually uses the word case manager. Case manager, is that the word? What's the word? Is it case manager or case officer? Case officer.
Case officer, yeah.
Case officer.
Yeah, but then Emily's favorite, what she called Baby Keefe.
Yes.
Baby Keefe said lead investigator. So
oh my God.
There you go.
I mean, it's just crazy though that he was using that language so intentionally to try to echo and support them, right? And the thing that I took away from Adam Deitch is that, and he's really trying. I mean, I will eventually highlight this for everybody to see, but the first thing I saw, so the very first topic they cover is Karen Read. It's like he knows it's coming. He's smiling about it.
Yeah.
First thing that you notice is that case is close. Like the Karen Read stuff, he has this very personal and very close feeling about. And he's like, he goes to say the judge in the case talking about how she managed the 3,100 pages that they handed over.
Yeah.
And he starts smiling before the words come out and he's trying to contain it because he says the judge talking about Bev.
Mhm.
So he's really, my experience sum total is he's one of us. He doesn't want us to know it entirely. He's trying to like contain that that's the case, but his entire agenda, the whole accountability, everything he says is about being the anti-Morrissey and doing justice for John O'Keefe and Sandra Birchmore. That's like his whole thing. And he didn't just say that. I think if he had, he might have sat better with people.
Yeah.
What worries me is that Connor is more, he speaks at like a more familiar, personable, less highbrow, right? Like Deitch feels like a Fed. He feels more formal. He feels more like highbrow in a way, whereas Connor is kind of like, a man's man. And I worry about that a little. I worry about it because he's going to make sure that we never see an investigation for John O'Keefe. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, totally. Even if you look at the patterns of the way that they are going about their campaigns, Greg Connor is doing a classic Morrissey campaign. It's the same song and dance. It's just like with everything else, same song and dance around John O'Keefe and Karen Read trials. It's just getting the unions, having his events only in Quincy, spending a lot of time in Quincy, spending a lot of time in Milton, spending some time in Canton. Like he's hitting very specific points that he knows has worked for Morrissey time and time again. And he's doing the same thing, the same donors. He's got, I mean, Deitch called it out in Emily's interview where he was like, yeah, I'm not going to be having, my people give me donations. And then you go and look at Greg Connors and it's like, Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, Norfolk County District, it's like DAs. And it's like, oh boy.
Yeah. So on the Stoughton TV interview, he's asked about that. One of the last questions that they get in is about how he feels about campaign donors from the office. And he's like, yeah, I have no problem with that because I think that you should be able to support your friends. Basically, that was his answer.
Sure, Jan.
Right.
Sure, Jan.
Of course. Yes. No problem. Of course,
because they already have oopsies.
Right. Because they already have, because that's where most of the money came from. Right. That's where most of his money's coming from. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. And the way that he then is talking about Karen Read and Sandra Birchmore, it's just shocking because I know Morrissey, I really believe is just completely like just a talking head. Like he was not on the ground. He was not in the work. He was not in the cases. I mean, this is a guy who was just clearly removed. He trusted his people to like do what they were doing. He protected them at all costs, but he had no idea what they were actually doing. I mean, just you look and see it in the emails, right? He just has no idea what's going on. Yeah. But that's not the case with Connor. Like he's the guy on the ground doing the stuff.
Right.
And Yeah, I mean, he's still not willing to say that Sandra Birchmore was murdered right now.
Well, he's going to have a field day when some of those emails start coming out that he's on, that he said he had nothing to do with.
The 8,000, the 7,900 emails that
Crazy.
right?
Yeah, because what was the number I got after Karen Reed trial too? Because he had stated he wasn't involved at all with the case, and he really wasn't, but it was right after the first verdict, the mistrial, you see like a sudden increase. It goes from a couple of hundred emails within like a 6 months time span up to like 2,000. And then it jumps even more, and then it jumps even more. So it's crazy to see the increase. So it's not like he was consistently doing like 600 emails in 6 months. Like, no, it was nothing to a little bit to skyrocketed.
Oh,
And
that's really interesting.
yeah, and that's why, and I know there's been a couple of attorneys who have been like, well, that doesn't really prove anything. I'm like, okay, we'll just wait till the emails come out then, because I have a feeling it's going to be like, oh, he's going to be recommending probably Hank Brennan. He's going to be speaking to Hank Brennan. He's probably speaking to Adam Lally, he's Morrissey, and all of them. Like, they're just not blind copying Greg Conner on all these emails. There's responses back to them. And he told voters he was not involved.
He did.
That was one of the very first things he said. So I am like, I'm waiting for these emails. Kyle,
oh, I
Emily,
cannot wait. That's very, very exciting.
Corey.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? He kind of gave it away a little bit, because he is in the background, by the way, throughout trial one. Like, you see him in the courtroom. I recognized him from that before the Walsh trial. So I was like, oh, that's the guy that was in the background during Karen's first trial. So he was there a lot. But he kind of gives it away a little bit, because he says the issue that I saw litigated during the first trial, is whether or not the car hit John O'Keefe. That's what he said. That's the issue that he saw being litigated in the first trial. Now, I ask you, when you think back to the first trial, this is tough because it's Adam Lally, but the first trial, is that the central issue being litigated? I mean, maybe it is, but the second trial feels more like that really is that was the basic argument, right?
Yeah.
But trial one, is that what we were talking? I don't know. I didn't get the sense that that's the sole discussion in trial one.
I think it was because, well, first of all, they also had a time change of when John O'Keefe was hit by the vehicle too. Because remember, in opening statements, Lally said 12:45.
Right. Thanks, Jen. You can thank Jen for that one. Yeah.
Blame Jen McCabe for that one, because he trusted Jen.
He sure did. And you know what? That's something that's so important to me, because if I'm the prosecutor, okay, and I'm listening to, I believe her. Jen gives that whole story, right? She's up and she's down and she's texting, and what are they doing? And her and Matt are like, why are they in there? You know, and the whole thing. Then it comes back from their witnesses, both from what's her name? From Garino, and then also Jessica Hyde, both of them in their data confirming Karen's gone at 12:30. So that's 15 minutes where Jen is up and down and she's talking to Matt, and Brian Jr.'s like, yeah, why are they out there looking at tire tracks, the whole thing. And then it turns out that none of that is true. Now, if you're a legitimate prosecutor, doesn't that make you go, hey, wait a minute, something's wrong?
And also too, you had two data experts who did not pull what they normally do out of cell phones. Ian Whiffen and Jessica Hyde were both hired for the 2:27 a.m. Google search. That's it. They did not go into anything more, not about Karen's location data, barely anything to do with John's. The temperature things, all of that wasn't until trial two, because they really had to buckle down and try to figure out, okay, we need a little more than we had for trial one, because they really didn't have much of anything for trial one. They had statements and testimony, and even those all changed anyways, because no one kept the same story. They all had some sort of change within their first statement to the second statement, and
yes,
Jen
they did.
6.
Yes, or 3 or 5. I mean, yes. And then their statements didn't, were completely contradictory in many cases, right? Like one person's here, another person is there. So, no, that's a really interesting point. What do you think about that, Karen's location data? Why don't we have Karen's location data?
Remember Richard Green, trial 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said that the location data was there, but there was a deletion of location data in April of 2022 on her phone.
Oh, I don't remember hearing that.
Who had custody of Karen Reed's cell phone in April of 2022?
Fascinating. So wait a minute. Let's think about that. April of 2022. Had they gotten into Karen's phone? They had her phone.
They knew her passcode.
They did know her passcode. Interesting.
I know. I have always speculated that, because Proctor clearly saw, because he said actually in one of his reports that he saw Karen Reed type in her passcode. Did Yuri say that too? So that's how they identified that was her cell phone. And
They did say that. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so okay, so her passcode. It took you an hour 15 to get back to Canton PD. Did you happen to open up her cell phone while you were driving? Did you immediately put it into a Faraday bag like you're supposed to? Or did you just leave it out and about and twiddle with it a little bit just to see what's going on?
Interesting. That's interesting. So, and I don't remember seeing that from Green, but I believe you. Was there other activity that he was able to verify was happening on her phone before, whenever they say they got in?
I remember the location one being big. I can't remember off the top of my head because he didn't testify for trial too. But I know one of the big ones from his very last report that he did. He was able, because there was an update to Axiom or whatever program he was using.
Yeah.
He was able to get down to the milliseconds of when Jen McCabe did that Google search. So not only did she do it, now we have even more precise timing of, or did someone else have her phone? We'll just say maybe someone else had her phone. Whoever did it, he got it down to milliseconds.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So he was able because Axiom updated their program, was able to see. Yeah. And with Green, I mean, Richard Green, there was so many problems with Jen's phone, right? First of all, the standard lock situation, he even says, Richard Green, first thing he says is, I've been doing this for, I don't know, 25 years or something. And this is the only time in my career that the security key was not properly handled, whatever.
Yeah.
It was very clear that they had tampered. This district attorney's office had, tampered with something.
Yeah.
Somebody did something.
And I mean, if they really wanted to, which I'm hoping that they do for the civil cases, I don't know if they will, but if they want to do one portion of figuring out what the police were doing, they could get all of the data, all of the things off of that cell phone and her other cell phone to see if when it was unlocked, when things were accessed, all of that is on the phone. And unfortunately for the O'Keefes, they have to pay for all of that because of what their attorney did in one of the previous hearings. So,
wait, what do you mean? Explain that.
Okay, I love this. I love gossiping, but it's all true. So Diller made the whole claim that Karen Reed said, I'm dead. I'm fucking dead. You remember that whole thing?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. So then there was many filings within 3 or 4 days. I remember my head was spinning because I could not keep track of all of these damn filings. So what ended up happening is there was multiple filings, and then one of Diller's last filings, he didn't have the proper exhibit or whatever. So instead of sending, because Judge Gilday wanted the original exhibit. He asked for it because when he tried to access it, he wasn't able to access it. So Gilday asked Diller, please give us that exhibit again. And instead of Diller giving that same exhibit, he gave a different audio that was not the same as what was supplied to him.
Okay.
Originally. And then that whole thing happened. So he But here's the problem. He also labeled it as the same exhibit. I think it was like Exhibit J or something like that. So not only did he do that, then when the hearing came, Gilday pulled him immediately in for a private sidebar, and it was a 16-minute sidebar. This wasn't just some cutesy little, I need to talk to you for a quick second. Like, no, this was a long ordeal. And I can guarantee you, just given how that hearing ended, he got a little admonished, being like, she didn't say that. So let's figure this out. You guys go and figure out privately what you're going to do. So then all the attorneys went into the room for like 45 minutes, and then they come back out. And what does Diller do? He has to tuck his tail, and he has to apologize. And he says, we're going to figure out what we're going to do with her cell phone, because the whole crux of it was that they didn't want Karen Reed to get the cell phone back. So then we find out after that the agreement, because he had messed up so badly that obviously they can't fight the Commonwealth anymore, and they were waiting for Cosgrove to see if he was going to put an appeal, which he never did. So what they had to now do is pay for the storage of Karen's cell phone, because they agree that they'll put it away somewhere so that no one touches it. Karen Reed will not touch it whatsoever. So the moment it gets out of the DA's hands, it goes right to whatever proper storage, whatever expert that they use. And now the O'Keefes have to pay for it all.
Get
all
out.
of it. All of it. The storage of it, the expert fees, everything the O'Keefes have to pay for, because Diller said Karen Reed said something that she didn't, and then also fucked around and found out with the exhibit.
Wow. So, okay. So that's like two huge bits of news, right? Like,
huge.
One is, right, like Diller, to me, he's so shady. He's a shady dude, right? I mean, he's a
Especially
shady guy.
after today's hearing, I was like, for a while, I was like, okay, let me keep not thinking they're talking, whatever. Okay, now we figure out now all the attorneys are talking, and he's probably talking to some of the witnesses. Fine. But now today, where he was just fully out defending Colin Albert, I'm like, okay, yep, nope. You guys are all working together. There's no way, because even Judge Gilday today was like,
how'd you know that?
How do you know?
Yeah. I loved it, though. I love him. That's why I'm saying I like the judge, because he's picking it up. How do you know that? He was on that really fast.
Yeah, because he really is supposed to be what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be transparent and non-biased. So if one of them's messing around, he's going to call him out. Like he called out Rosenberg today. But then that happened. He's like, what?
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely. Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, even in today's hearing, there's such an awareness that we're all watching. They all know that there's like showboating and that there's eyes on, right? I mean, so they're all aware of it. The judge tries not to let them speak, I think, sometimes, because he doesn't want that to be what ends up taking over their motions, their hearings, so that it's just basically like each side showboating, right? What do you think about the fact that they had filed their lawsuit, the Ham lawsuit, in a different county and then wound up with this judge?
Universe will always kind of pull your energy back into you, right? Whatever goes around comes around. I've always wondered why Higgins was a part of the lawsuit, and then I saw the Barnstable County filing. I go, okay, that makes sense, because he lives in Barnstable County. I know. See, things have to make sense. I know.
Okay.
But that bit them in the ass, because then obviously the chief trial guy, whatever, the head judge who's ahead of assigning all the things, was like, well, Gilday is not retiring. He is in charge right now of the other O'Keefe Reed suit. So it's familiar. Similar things, similar people. We're going to put him on this one too. He has a good reputation. People aren't going to fight him. And I guarantee you they're all watching all the commentary about Judge Gilday and the other cases. So, okay, he's good. He's fine. But then because he's out of Plymouth County, what do? They then move the suit to Plymouth County.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So their plan was foiled. There's foiled again, kind of a thing.
It kind of seems like they thought for some reason the further down the Cape, the better. But I mean, I really don't think it matters all that much, because we're in Massachusetts, period. The issue being, though, Plymouth County if geography, I did this on TikTok. I'm like, welcome to your Massachusetts geography lesson.
Okay. Yeah.
If we're looking at Canton, right? Next to Canton is Stoughton, which obviously everyone knows now. That's Uri Land, Sandra Birchmore. We know all that.
Yeah.
Right next to Stoughton is the Plymouth County line into Brockton.
Okay.
So it's all interconnected. So you're talking about communities, even though if they're in different counties, they all have the same news stations. It's all the same players. So it's like, yes, Plymouth County is large in that it goes all the way down to the line of the Cape and Barnstable County, but you still got a lot of people. And I remember many of the standouts were in Plymouth County as well over the years. And I'm almost positive, if there's any boots on the ground in the chat, you guys had a ton in Plymouth. I remember going to one in Plymouth. There was one right over the bridge too for a while going into Cape Cod, as well as up and down the South Shore too. So it's like it's heavily
oh yeah,
free Karen Reed territory, we'll say.
Yeah. So let me ask you, because you are, in the area generally, pretty freaking close compared to, many of us, particularly some of our folks are in Sweden and Australia, right? So
yeah.
you're very, very close relatively. What is your sense when you look at this DA's race? And the reason I bring it back to that is because, to me, the only way that we are getting justice for John O'Keefe is if, and I think there's an argument to be made. I want to make this clear. I think there's maybe an argument to be made, and I don't know this for sure, but just sensing how close that Adam Deitch is to this case based on his language, linguistically, and the way that every time he said anything, you'd have to really know the case to catch it. But like when he said the judge and he got this big smile, or when he made certain comments about certain very specific details about the Karen Reed stuff, he would smile because he knows that all of us have some association to that, right?
Right.
So it's close. I would even argue that if this guy is responsible for the investigation into Norfolk County DA's office to see if there's corruption, then he may be solely responsible for exonerating Karen Reed or his people. Because without him, we don't have Proctor's text messages. Right. We don't have ARCA. Could you imagine a world where we don't have Rentschler and Wolf? Right. So you look at Adam Deitch, that's his case. That's his case. Those 3,100 pages were his pages. So this guy cares deeply. I mean, he sold his condo and moved to Quincy so that he could make sure and change the DA's office. And the two things that he's stressing, are about the cold case unit, right? He wants John to get justice. He wants John's family to get justice. I don't think there's any other way that we're going to see it. And he talks about that. He talks about it is not the role of the federal government to bring a murder case. That the only way they have the ability to do that in the Sandra Birchmore case is to try to prove, and this makes it exponentially harder, what is his name? Why am I Matthew Farwell, sorry. That Farwell was he murdered her, but he was in pursuit of another crime, right? So, and that makes it much harder to prove. It's sort of, you have to build this whole conspiracy. And fine, if that's the only option you have, but he's basically telling us it's up to the state to bring those charges. That's up to the Norfolk County DA's office. Right. They're not doing that. Greg Connor's not doing that, guys. No chance in hell.
No.
So it's only happening if Adam Deitch is in that office. And, what do you think? Do you get the sense, boots on the ground locally, that number one, it's going to be a big turnout, and that number two, he has a chance to win?
I think it depends on how many more days that we have. I would say what the next 60 days look like for the campaigns. They have less than 100 days, and Deitch needs to, he's doing a lot. He needs to do more. And I'm not saying that because I don't think he has a chance. I think because more people need to know. And he already has a very, very strong grassroots type of deal going on. Mm-hmm. However, we're also fighting the people that usually just either don't vote
When-
or when they do vote, they check a name because it looks familiar.
Right.
So they
Yeah.
may just check off Connor's name because it sounds familiar. And then you got this, what is an Adam Deitch? What is that? You know, you got people that'll be like,
you do. You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
but I am very much hopeful. I think there's too many candidates. If you're asking my opinion, I don't think there needs to be that many. I think some of them need to put their egos away and they need to step down. I do think this should be against Connor and Deitch at this point. And this is the first time I'm saying that, by the way. But after watching many interviews between almost all of the candidates, I think there's one candidate that I really haven't seen do much of anything. But after watching everything, I have a strong opinion that it should be Deitch versus Connor. Period. Because we're going to be splitting the votes, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, right. Well, that's right. And that's another thing that's really weird. There's only a Democrat ticket, right? But so in other words, you have, you know, really the race is in November, but it's almost ending in September with this first, right before Labor Day.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And it's like, and the election is like right around the same time as a major holiday. So it's like, damn, that's going to be a big hurdle to get over too. So it's like we need as many people out there making phone calls, door knocking, talking, doing things, because it's important. It's like Adam had said, not a lot of people pay attention to district attorney things. It's like, oh, now we get it, because now it's like, oh, you could be the next Karen Reed or next Sandra Birchmore.
Yeah, I mean, Sandra Birchmore, I'll tell you something, that's even more egregious. As much as the Karen Reed thing, I mean, it's a dead police officer, right? I mean, so that is egregious in a different way. It's the fact that they treated one police officer's life as less important because they liked a different police officer more is just disgusting and vile in a way that, is horrific. But the way that they just treated Sandra Birchmore like just trash. Like there was not even a legitimate investigation of any kind at all. They just were like, okay, yep, it was suicide. That was it. Like, it's baffling. It's baffling. It really is.
I mean, get into the conversation about talking about, essay and in women's health and women's health issues, it's still highly understudied and highly not spoken about enough. So it's like that's why Sandra's case didn't catch on like John's did. John's caught like wildfire. And I'm glad Sandra had the advocacy from her family and Mizzy and friends in order to latch on to Karen Reed and the whole of it all, because without that, I don't know where Sandra's case would have gone on.
Yeah.
Because I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think Adam Deitch and the feds would have caught on to it if it wasn't people screaming and hooting and hollering. So it makes me so mad. I mean, like her whole case makes me so infuriated just knowing more behind the scenes and other victims. It just makes me so mad.
It's devastating. No, the Explorers, she was so excited to be a police. The whole thing is, it's really disgusting. In fact, I learned about her case from, and I forget his name, and I feel bad right now that I don't remember the name of the guy who's the podcast. He's like the guy that has the Sandra Birchmore podcast, who's a Boston guy.
Kirk?
You know what I'm talking about? Is it Kirk? Yes.
Kirk wasn't he a Barstool guy?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, the case. Was it the case? Chat.
Yes,
chat
the
help.
case. It was the case. It was the case. It's the case. Yes, thank you. Yes, called the case. Correct. Yes, thank you. So I had heard that before. I think that came out before the first trial. Am I right about that? I had heard that separate. I did not connect Karen Reed and Sandra Birchmore right away. It took me a while to understand that we were talking about a Norfolk County, crossover in terms of police.
Yeah, because I remember when the big FOIA request came out for the Sandra Birchmore emails, and I was going through it, and I saw all of the people reaching out, whoever was getting public records request, and I don't know if Kirk did it or Dave did it, but I saw some of the names, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know you. Like you can see all the different communications and
interesting,
and how pushy some people weren't getting some stuff because they really were pushing back the DA's office. They were like,
Really?
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And the way that Morrissey would send like his I call them his buddies, but like all the cops that work on whatever cases and the people that work in the office, like what did Emily say? I think it was Emily that was like, yeah, it's because he was on the toilet. That's the reason why he was just like sending out things from his iCloud email, because he was just on his toilet and just trying to talk to people. Like he didn't realize it was his iCloud and not the DA email.
Right. You probably didn't. It's very possible that she's right. Like he doesn't know what he's doing.
He doesn't know what
agree
he's
with
doing.
that.
He doesn't know.
No clue.
He's he's of a particular age and he doesn't realize what he's doing.
No, we thank God though for that. That was wonderful. It was great that he did that, right? Because then we wound up with all of those, and those messages were so telling. Like they just showed exactly what you're saying. Like this guy who's like on the toilet, like not knowing what he's doing, and he blind CCs like the same little team of people on almost every message that he sends out. It's like he gets to the office every day, he looks at the obituaries, and then he has like his assistants send out, sympathy cards. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. And then he goes to like the news. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you get, it's just like Proctor doing the same thing where he was looking at certain documents and then he was sending himself on his other email, his own documents. And it's like, okay, now that all can be FOIA requested too. So it's like, they're not smart. They just have connections and protection.
They're not smart. I love that you said that. Yeah, they're really not. I mean, he specifically, right? I don't know how. I don't really get it with Morrissey. I'd really love to know. He would be an interesting person to like study going back to like middle school, because I have a hard time imagining how that guy wound up a career politician. I just don't know. I really don't. Beer, maybe. I'm not sure.
I mean, he never took on a case. He was just a politician who got his law license and then ran for DA and won.
Right. And then stayed there.
And then stayed there forever. Well,
forever.
Until December of this year.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And, according, I don't believe it, but according to Connor, he's like, yeah, I wasn't sure if he was going to run again. And I was like, really? Is that true that you weren't sure if he was going to run again? Because I think he wasn't going to run again. I think this was, come on.
Well, I heard last summer that it was pretty much his wife, Morrissey's wife, that was like, you're done.
I'm sure.
You need to be a grandfather, and this is heard it from one of her friends. This is what goes on behind the scenes. But no, she was like, you're done. You need to be a grandfather. So I think it was that on top of some obvious other issues that he realized I probably shouldn't be in the office anymore.
Yeah, and why would you want to be? Let's be honest, right? Like, why would you want to be? Why would you want to deal with this? It's just, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's just so crazy. All right, at Mr. G70 sends $5. Thank you, Mr. Brian Hagan said his phone and his work phone were blowing up the next morning. Is his work phone at the station or a cell phone? Where did he sleep? Great question, Mr. What do you think?
I'm pretty sure I feel like the only people that Higgins would have been in contact with around those times when he was going to CPD would have been Berkey, Albert, maybe Kevin Albert. It wouldn't have been anyone else than that, because I do think they kept who they spoke to relatively small.
Oh, yeah.
So I think whoever he was speaking to around Canton PD was on his work phone and not on his personal phone, unless they somehow deleted those conversations off their other phones. But I do think it's from his work phone.
It had to be, or it kind of had to be, because otherwise we would probably have seen it, is my guess.
Yeah,
right?
And we don't have those conversations, and then he never admitted to those conversations either.
Right. That's right. So we don't know who that was, and we don't know which phone it was. No. Basically,
we can take we can take good guesses just given the nature of everything that was going on at that time. Like, so. But yeah.
Right. I guess we do have some phone information from Brian Albert, although I have only seen maybe 10 calls, and I don't remember. I don't think any of them are that to Brian Higgins, right? I don't think.
No, right? Because the only things we got the butt dials for trial 1, and then the most recent stuff that we kind of heard briefly for trial 1 and trial 2, but it's very limited to calls between Brian Albert, Brian Higgins, Ken Berkowitz, and Kevin Albert.
Correct. That's right. Yep. So we don't know. I mean, I have to believe it's Brian Albert. I guess there's another possibility. I've come to the conclusion. It's, I was here, I've been back and forth, like you were saying about the 1221. I can go back and forth, but I think more recently I am fairly certain that Chris Albert is also at that house in the middle of the night with them. You'll note there are no calls with Chris. Julie has to make up the really silly donuts about the story about the donuts. Sorry. She has to find a reason to get to the house the next morning. And it's the most absolutely absurd story that they could come up with to put donuts and I think donuts for sure, maybe coffee also, depending on which of the witnesses you're talking to, in his car, not even into the house.
But his car wasn't even there,
and his
Sam.
car isn't there. Yes, right. So yeah, the whole thing is absurd. It's just fundamentally absurd in every way, shape, and form. But clearly, the absurd story isn't true. And so they felt they needed to have a reason for Julie to be at the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they obviously knew what had happened to John the night before, right?
Well, what do you think about Julie Albert in her initial statement saying that she had that 4:55 a.m. phone call, and that's when she found out John was dying?
Right. That's right. I just saw that. That was newer. I just saw that recently that she had made that statement, right? I don't remember who was the police officer that took it down. Who wrote that? I forget who the officer was.
Because they had their interview together. I'm pretty sure it was Proctor and Yuri. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, that's an interest. Wait a minute. Wait. They only spoke to them that one time, right? Chris and Julie?
Right.
And the formal interview write-up was by Tully, because the formal interview write-up about those two, right? Wasn't it Tully? Because didn't he say that they were...
I actually have a whole Google Doc. I can...
Oh, yay. Oh, that's exciting. So we'll get to actually see for real, because that is new information, that whole statement about how she found out when Jen calls her that morning.
Yeah.
And I want to say that is that phone call answered? It's an answered call. No.
She said it was missed.
It's a missed call. Okay. Was an actual missed call?
As far as we know, yes, but here's the problem with it though. Karen calls Jen from Kaylee's phone at 4:53.
Okay.
Jen picks up. She hears Karen screaming, flipping out. The very first person she calls is Julie Albert.
Wow.
Okay. Then you go back to the calling Erin Beatty, and now Jen's calling. You see what I mean? This is what
Wait a minute. Let's do this again. Save this one more time. We have to think about this again. This is important.
I know.
So Karen calls Jen from Kaylee's phone at 4:53 and says, John didn't come home, whatever. Yeah. And then she hangs up, right? It's a quick call. She hangs up and then she calls her again. Am I right? She calls again?
Yep.
Karen calls again, I think.
She calls again.
She calls again. Okay. So the first call, though, is not to 34 Fairview. The first call is to Julie.
Right.
Huh.
That's what I mean.
I mean, that's really interesting, right? I mean, that's really interesting. I mean, I know that Julie's like her best friend, but let's think about that.
I know. No, because, who is Julie Albert's son?
Right. I mean, of course, right? I mean, the first person you would call why would you call her first, I guess, is really the question we're asking, right?
Why is it
if
so
it's
urgent?
not to let her know first.
Right. And if you remember during trial, they kept trying to push it another hour, saying that it was 5:55 and not 4:55. Which this is what kept like my tentacles going, because I was like, wait, why are they now changing the time to an hour later? And Jen was like, oh, that's when we were driving through the waterfall area, and I was calling to see if John had gone to Chris and Julie's. But then that changed for trial too, because then all Jen said was, well, I know John and Chris were friends and they had a conversation earlier in the night. And then maybe I thought, like, who else could be at the waterfall that was house would go to? So I just immediately thought of Julie and Chris. But then if you look at the waterfall footage of the exterior, you literally see Jen wait for John to come out of the bar. And then she watches Karina, Karen, and John walk up and go to the street where the two of them parked, Karen and Karina. So like the whole story of Jen's first excuse why she called Julie doesn't make sense because of the time change. And then the second one doesn't make sense because she physically saw them walk and also gave John directions. So she knew John was
going to the house.
Yeah. Right. That's
right.
I'm like, there's something odd about that doesn't make sense. But I do want to tell you the interview just so I don't forget.
Okay. I'm getting, I know we're going to get to you guys. I promise I'm going to get to everybody. And hold on one second. I see somebody. Sam, I feel like you like this, Sam. You guys are talking about the Julie Albert at 4:55 call. In the first trial, she tries to say it was 5:55, which is still before John is found. So literally doesn't accomplish anything. I see what's happening. Okay.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It's a mess. So Julie, in the first trial, obviously, because she doesn't testify in the second, tries to say that she found out at 5:55 to try to make it later, but it doesn't matter anyway because it's still irrelevant. It's still too early to know.
She doesn't even say that's when she found out about John dying. She only said that in her first interview.
That's right. Right. That's right. That is right. Yes. She says that in the first interview.
So she like completely tries to distance herself from even saying that, but it's in a written interview.
She does say that, and it was a surprise to see. Yeah, it's very clear to me. I mean, this is why, and I've said it many times, most of you have heard me say it probably hundreds of times at this point, that I can't let Colin go. I would love to let Colin out of the house. I would love to say Colin has no part of this. Colin is not involved, but it's these people. It's the witnesses. It's the fact that why is Chris Albert on with Matt Gutman the day after the Karen Reed trial? Why is Chris there? Like, Colin's not there, but Chris is there. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Colin was not in the house, why is Chris there?
Why did Chris want to be a select board member?
Exactly. Right. And Jen gave that away. I got to tell you, Jen McCabe, they're not the brightest stars in the sky. They're just not. Jen, trial 2, very first thing that happens, cross-examination. Alan Jackson starts going through, everyone will remember this. It's like the most classic Jen McCabe testimony. Alan starts going through the relationships. He's like, I want to be clear. This person is married to this person, and you went to high school with this person, and how long did you know this guy? And he's married to your sister, Nicole. And he's going through it. And she's like, and then Chris Albert is married, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, and he's a town select board member. She's like, now he is, yes. And as she said that, if she hadn't said that, it would not have immediately the second she said it, it was like, oh, of course. It was like she confirmed that the reason he's a select board member is because of Colin, because of the case, right? Obviously. And then to make it even worse, Chris, it's so transparent. They're so transparent. Chris is on, I think the day after the verdict, talking about how he doesn't want to have to leave Canton. That's his town. Why should he have to leave town? First of all, did anybody suggest that you needed to leave town? Who was saying that you needed to leave town, right? Like, in other words,
maybe during times where there's been arguments with some standouts, there has been some things that have said, but that does not mean Chris and Colin and other D&E employees, as well as other family members, don't sling mud back. There's always, and I will say this: it's usually Colin Albert flipping someone off that usually starts it all.
Right. Oh no. Well, I mean,
usually.
First of all, poor Colin, and I say that only because, like, what chance did Colin ever really have, right? I mean, like, if I'm being 100% honest, this was all very predictable to some degree because, like, look at who this kid is. Look at who Colin and his parents are. Like, and I don't not like Julie and Chris. I think of all of the players in this entire case, those two are kind of funny. Like, they're like the more likable of the entire group. Having said that, like, that's Colin's mom and dad.
I just listen, as someone who has had her own interactions with Chris Albert.
I get it.
I'm like, how did you know where I was? You always talk about people are stalking and harassing you. What about when you know where other people are, and then you threaten them? Oh yes.
Oh, so he's watching back, is what you're saying. He's watching back.
Sam, they all do it. This is why I'm like, I just can't stand a hypocrite. That's the thing that irks me the most is when someone says they're not going to do something and then they do it anyways, or they don't like someone doing something and they still do it. They all do it, and they have. It started with like the sports parents, and then it branched off to all this other stuff.
It's worse than that even. I mean, I think it's even worse than hypocrite. It's projection in my world, but gaslighting in the rest of the world, right? I mean, to me, Brian Albert is actually mocking us with the whole witness intimidation, testify campaign thing. Like, if anybody's intimidating witnesses, it was them. It was Jen with Karina Kolakithis. It was, it was absolutely the big bullies on the block. And, and I don't know what you think, have heard this. I had heard at one point, somebody very early on in my tenure knowing about this case, that Brian Albert would go to the parking lot in the hospital where Sarah Levinson works and sit there. Do you think any of that is true?
Yes.
Yeah. And
I know for a fact that Sarah Levinson had a sudden onset of PTSD after January 29, 2022, and was out of work almost immediately. She was going to work, and then she put in a leave of absence. I know for a fact.
Well, I'll tell you, he gives away in his language during the trial that he was worried about her that night, that she's the one that he had anxiety about with Sarah, Brian Albert.
I could see why he would think that, given how close Julie Nagel is to some of the Alberts. Absolutely. And why Sarah Levinson may be a little bit more of like a where does this go? Mm-hmm.
He didn't know. And it's really ironic to me. It's ironic that that's the case because Julie's the worst witness the world has. I mean, Julie Albert is not Julie Albert. Sorry. Julie Nagel is the worst witness. She's so bad. Like from a deception detection perspective, knowing what I know, watching her, it's like if a 7-year-old was on the witness stand in like a mock trial, they would have done a better job than she does because she's the worst liar ever. Ever. Like the worst liar that has ever lived, Julie Nagel. Sarah Levinson, she sold everybody. She even sold Karen's lawyers. She had Karen's lawyers. They have the music blaring. Yannetti is like painting the picture of like a rock party in the kitchen so that John can get in and down the stairs without them seeing, right? Because they're like trying to paint this world where Sarah and Julie are innocent snowflakes, didn't see it happen. And there's no doubt that they saw it happen. I mean, let me tell you, there's no two testimonies in this entire trial that are more incriminating than Sarah Levinson and Julie Nagel when you understand what they're saying. It took me a while. I had to sit with it. I had to watch Sarah very carefully for a long time, really sit with both of her testimonies. Once I did that, which is very boring, by the way, I resisted it. It's so fucking boring, excuse my language. But once I did it, I was like, Sarah, Let me tell you, these people, like when you get into their heads, because like when you do this kind of stuff, you got to get into their heads. You really have to understand who they are. You have to be like, you have to know what they're thinking in those moments, the best of your ability. It's not fun. But she sold everybody. Sarah's what gave them the win in many respects. That's what sold the first jury.
Yeah. Yeah. I really think a lot of the quote unquote kids, right? I think a lot of us thought Sarah, Julie was always iffy, but like Heather Maxon, Ricky, Ryan Nagel, like we all thought like, oh, they're just being truthful. Look how good they are. And then it was trial 2 where I remember being like, people kept saying that same like thought process. And I go, no, there's something else here. And I was like, I still gave Heather benefit of the doubt because she was the girlfriend, whatever, kind of off to the side.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, Ryan Nagel has done some pretty shifty things the last year in regards to some people. So like there's more going on here.
I'll tell you something. Those videos, the videos that we had gotten from Meredith and Aiden in front of CF McCarthy's, that was huge for me. It was like the first real eye opener that both Julie's not just like a friend of Brian Jr., but like she is like a defensive lineman for them. Like she bleeds whatever color the Alberts bleed. She's in all the way to the extreme, like to her own detriment.
Yeah.
But then you see the way that her brother acts in those videos and the way Sam acts in those videos. And it's like, oh, whoa, this is like a whole nother thing happening here. Like this is, and Chris Sr., they are so desperate. It's not just anger at Aiden. It's not just anger. It's not like, I hate you. I mean, it's desperation. Like to that point, it's the reason why I keep Julie Albert's sister in my open at the very end. She's like,
Jill Daniels.
Why do you care? Yeah, Jill Daniels. Why do you care? You didn't know John. You didn't even know John. It's like, because she was so at her like wit's end with him that she literally drives like a bat out of hell to downtown Canton, finds Aiden on the street, and then slams the phone. She like pulls over onto the freaking sidewalk, gets out of the car, and slams the phone down. It's like, what are you? This is out of control, like 16-year-old girl shit right here. What are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
They are desperate for him to shut up. It's like desperation.
And now you all know how they act. I couldn't tell you how many times I've heard stories of the pack mentality and they just show up and they do crap like that. That is not, I think that was one of the first times it was probably caught on camera and then obviously put out to the media. But it's not,
that's interesting.
They are.
Okay,
no, they're very defensive of one another.
Really? So you're saying this is like a common practice to a degree?
Oh, and I saw some locals in the chat. You all know what I'm talking about. They are.
Wow.
Yeah. It goes back to high school. It starts with, the parents, and then the parents have the kids, and then it just goes down to generations.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like I grew up on the western side of Massachusetts for high school and saw, I mean, I get it. I got it. Right. It's has a little different edge to it where they are like in Canton. It's a little different, but it's close. It's a close cousin. Completely get it. Right. There's like 7 family names and, everybody knows those family names and, it is what it is. Nobody ever leaves. And if you think about it, like all these particular witnesses that we're talking about, they're all like born, raised, their kids are born, raised. They're not thinking about leaving town. It's like, like nobody's like really, even the ones that go away, they come back. It's like no one's really trying to really leave.
Right. I mean, I've seen it online when people like talk about, as an example, like Caitlin Albert. I saw this one girl who she posted on her Instagram story that Karen only got the DUI, and she had, I think it was one of Jen's daughters following her. They played soccer or something together. And it became a whole thing that this Jen's daughter ended up blocking this girl And she also posted it on TikTok, the same video of me being like, oh, Jen McCabe's daughter blocked me. Haha, Karen Reed is free. And the comments from Caitlyn and her friends and her sister, Kayla, all down the line, all the things that they were saying, they were just like, attack mode. And I was like, this reminds me exactly of Jill Daniels outside of D and Nancy at McCarthy's. It's the same behavior. It's just online. And like the things that they were saying to this girl, she was like, all I said was that Karen Reed is free and Jen's daughter blocked me. And I was laughing.
Right. But to them, it makes sense. It makes sense. Like the defend and attack and try to destroy, right? To get people to stop.
Right. And this girl, like, if you guys were to see this video wasn't even this girl putting commentary. It was her with music. And she just had like a slideshow being like, I posted this on my Instagram, right? And then it was to music. And then the next thing was like, I don't know if it was Allie or Emily, whatever daughter was of Jen's, blocked her. And that was the video. That was it. But they just came in like a pack of wolves to be like, you are such a dirty human, and like going, I have all the screenshots from if and when it needs to be used. But yeah,
that's
it was
fascinating.
Crazy, because then I was like, I'm gonna make
this
a video
after the verdict. You're talking about after the verdict.
Yeah, this was last summer.
That's crazy.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so then I was like, I'm gonna make a video being like, oh, this is news to me. Let's see, like, this is how they act. And then they came at me, and I was like, you guys are proving my point. You're proving a point.
Crazy.
You walked right into the wall.
It's just crazy. It's like completely insane, right? I mean, it's a machine. You can't win. You can't ever stop. Like you can, you're never going to win this game. It's insane.
They're probably just a little bit upset that, they lost in their eyes.
Oh yeah. No, in that moment, I'm sure there was, some pretty serious, eat shit kind of fear. Actually, I think it was fear. Had to be fear. Right.
Of like, what do you think of like what's to come next? Or,
well, if Karen Reed, see the whole thing from their viewpoint, and I think that's why in the first trial, especially because we had so many more witnesses, so many more of them testify.
Yeah.
I think they were willing to sacrifice like how it would look for us, because they had some awareness, although it got much worse trial too. They had some awareness that we're there, we're cutting video, like it's gonna, get clocked and thrown up somewhere, and Aiden or somebody's gonna, be making fun of it or whatever. But I don't think they cared. What they cared about like selling the story, because they need Karen to take the fall for this, right? They sold to one thing that they did that was smart. The only really arguably thing that they did was smart, really smart. Brian Albert has Jen immediately befriend Carrie, who is already in with the family. And as soon as that happens, all Jen then has to do is show up on that Sunday and bring, and do her little dance, and I'm here for you, and I'll help, and I'll do anything, and I'll make myself indispensable to you, right? Because if she gets the family, they know if they get the family on their side immediately, then like they're good, right? Yeah. Because, the family supports them, nobody's really going to think that they did this, and no one's going to really come after them. So that was like their one move, the one smart thing that they did. And now, no matter what you ever show them, they're not smart enough to actually look at it seriously. There's too much pride, too much anger. And Karen is such an easy person for the O'Keefe family to hate, right? So easy to hate.
Yeah. I also think there was some underlying things there anyways, where I don't think Peg initially liked her anyways. And it was just kind of easy. But yeah, because if you think about it, Jen spent like, I did the math. It was like what, a 5-hour time span on that Sunday at John's house with the family. And then she went back. And then the next day, the O'Keefes were at 34 Fairview.
So, I didn't know that. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Doing what?
It was in one of the sidebars.
What were they doing there?
Because the media was going to get them on camera. And I guess there was a problem with the media. So Bev, and I think it was Bev, Hank, and no, not Hank. This was trial 1. So it must have been Lally. I remember in being regards to news media, the family feeling like they were being harassed, and that there's something happened at 34 Fairview when the O'Keefes were there in this sidebar.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So we don't know why they were there, but we know they were there.
They were there. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Which also
God
wasn't
only knows.
testified to either.
What'd you say?
Which also wasn't testified to either. No one said that occurred.
Yeah, that's odd, right? That's odd. But it doesn't surprise me because, like I said, they would have known, and Brian Albert would have been the ringleader of this particular. Like, think about how many hours, how much time did she spend that day on the phone with Carrie? Right? She was smart about trauma bonding with Carrie, because as long as Carrie can't see reality because it's too scary at that point. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation. Hopefully, nobody ever is, but when I was in college, I got myself into some weird things, and out in Montana. I was out in Montana, and
I'm sure you can do a lot of weird things in Montana.
You can. It turns out, yes, when there's more like, I don't know, buffalo than people, you can get yourself into some weird things, and so yes, and I did, and it was like I thought somebody was one person one way, and then lo and behold, like we kind of uncovered this whole plot that was in motion that we stumbled into and didn't realize that, like, we were kind of accidentally, because I was a cute little college kid, like, and he's a cute boy. And, that's like how it started. That's like what happened. Then turned out that he wasn't really a cute boy. He was like, an adult man who was brought to the community to grow large quantities of marijuana. Cute boy at a bar. I didn't know who he was. Whatever.
Oh, wow.
The point is, this did not go well. It ended poorly for everybody, not for me, but for everybody else. And it was like this what I thought was going on wasn't the truth, right? It was like things looked one way on the outside, but when you got to know the situation, a whole other thing was really going on. It's so scary. It like shakes you to your core, because you think, like, you go back to your head and you think about every interaction that you've had with that person or with those people. And you're like, wait a minute, you were at my house, and like, you had your dog in my lawn. Like, you start thinking back, and it's pretty terrifying when you can't discern what reality is true.
Right.
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 Having had that experience on like a very tiny level, I can only imagine if I am the O'Keefe family or if I am Carrie Roberts, there is no way. Like, my mind, I would go there for a second. Like, no, like that's, like she might, like have a moment of something she sees, something she hears, and she's like, huh.
Yeah.
But would never allow herself to really consider it, because it's terrifying, like in a core way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lack of critical thinking. It's
Well,
like
that too.
Well, think of Carrie did the 2 interviews, right? She did the Note My Objection second, and then the first one she did the Five Skins ladies. And and both times she was questioning us because it was about the glass. And she was like, well,
I know.
what do they think? They think like he got into a fight and had this glass, and then the glass was broken and it somehow was like on the lawn with him. That doesn't make sense. I'm like, no, Carrie, no, that's not what any of us have ever said. And I've watched a lot of content. I've read a lot of content. No, not a damn soul has ever said that. Not once. Because you actually want to believe that John O'Keefe sustained no injuries that match up to being hit with a vehicle. And you want us to believe, and I just figured this out, the damage where they're trying to say where his hand was, where the glass was supposedly broken.
Yeah.
They didn't tell us all of the damage, and you have to look at the high quality images in order to look at the rear damage of the back hatch. That makes me so freaking mad. Who was I talking about this with? Oh, DD, Suspicious Sauce. I was like, is this paint on the back of her rear hatch? And she goes, oh yeah, here's the clip of Maureen Hartnett saying that she tested and it was paint. Okay, so why is there paint on the back of Karen Reed's hatch? Not only that, the paint is not only where his hand would have been, it then had her windshield wiper. So there's damage here, her windshield wiper, and then there's a rainbow
Oh my God.
paint. Rainbow, it's like a white paint, follows up and goes down, and it's a scratch that was left over. But if you follow the damage down, it's just on this and this, there's no damage, but guess what was found on the bumper directly underneath where something would have fallen? The glass that doesn't match the cocktail glass, and the glass doesn't match the taillight.
You're kidding. So you're saying that they're actually trying to make it look like
they want us to think that just that little damage, though, just the dent is where John's hand in the glass was. But
Right.
what they didn't explain, A, is the white paint, and then B, the subsequent and corresponding rainbow scratch on the back window that also had the same paint on it. And then I was like, hold on, now I'm down the freaking rabbit hole. I then looked up when she did the auction, right? The auto mechanic that auctioned it off.
Yeah.
There wasn't really the best images of it because none of the news media got any freaking good quality zoomed in of this damage.
Totally.
So then I had to go on the way back machine because a dealer purchased from the auction because there wasn't enough that showed for the auction. But then the vehicle sold within 24 hours. So then the whole thing came off of the website. So I had to go to the way back machine. Oh, I was down a freaking rabbit hole.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you actually look, the auto mechanics, the JB Auto, whatever, that actually had it, never fixed the actual damage. So you still have the dent, the scratches, and then the window scratch. And when you zoom in, you see that this dent, you would think it's similar to the pattern of his scratches, how they should have been had he been hit by a vehicle, how they should have been in a particular pattern.
Yeah.
So if you look at it closely, I'm going to have to post this now. If you look at it, there are scratches like this, what we would expect. But then there's this scratches like this. It almost makes like a pound symbol and then another scratch through it. It's like all in the same cluster that's like maybe this big.
What is the purpose? What would
with
be
paint, with freaking paint? So now I'm trying to go through my brain. How the hell? How were they doing arts and crafts inside 34 Fairview? Like I don't
No, like why is it there? And
why
would they put it there?
No. And then I was like, is it salt? Nope, it's not salt because you can tell if you zoom in, there's the salt and then there's the white paint. The white paint is like thick. You can tell that it skips. Like it looks like almost looks like it looks almost like if you had one of like the little whiteout pens and it was to dry out a little bit, and like they'll skip, except it's not. It's not.
Was it there before?
It wasn't.
Do we know it wasn't there before?
It wasn't on the camera footage that I have of before John O'Keefe like left, right? Because we have all like that daytime footage.
Yeah,
and that's the best time to see like what's going on with the vehicle. And I've kind of looked at it extensively now. No, the paint's not there. Because someone was like, well, maybe it's previous damage. I'm like, it's definitely not previous damage. So if it wasn't done by Karen, and if it wasn't done at the scene, then what had to have done at Canton PD?
Yeah, in the Sallyport.
So I've talked to a couple of people, and one person was like, well, I first thought maybe someone threw something at her vehicle or something. I was like, I don't understand what could have white paint on it, because John O'Keefe had nothing white here, right? The only thing white on John was the bottom of his shoes, and that doesn't make sense. What's he gonna do?
So that reminds me. Yeah, and even if it just doesn't make any sense, like how does it help them either, right? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. So I was like, okay. Someone said maybe it was at first I thought, do you know when you go into like parking garages and they have those particular like little rinky dink things you pay and the little thing goes up and down? Because the damage isn't substantial. It doesn't go up and down the vehicle. It's just a little dent and then the rainbow type scratch.
Okay.
And then the paint and then plus the taillight. That's it. So I was like, maybe she ran into something like that, but then there's no white paint on the taillight. There's black random damage in the interior, like black stuff, but it's not white.
Oh, wait a minute though. Wait.
I know. Now I'm really going deep. Sam's like, what have you been doing, Boozey?
Wait a minute though. Like, could it be, you're saying like, in other words, it could look like an accident. I mean, it could look like some like transfer paint from some kind of a collision.
I don't freaking know. But
I don't know.
but there's no other white paint
Anywhere
anywhere
and anything.
on the vehicle. They're not in the interior, not in the
Hmm.
rear of the vehicle, nothing. There's no other white paint. And I'm like, the hell? I was like, hell. Oh, and then I was like, was it John's garage?
Yeah, right. That's my thought was garage. Yeah.
Did she
I don't
pull
know.
in and it didn't go in enough? And I was like, now was the garage door damaged? And then they weren't able to do something like, you know, how they weren't able to close it. And then Kaylee and Mike Camerano thought it might have been the snow that had been I'm like, I literally have no idea what this
No
is.
idea.
All I know is that this is another crucial piece of evidence that they just ignored. They just decided to throw it
Ignored
out
completely.
because the only thing that they used was the little dent. They didn't talk about the white paint, and then they didn't talk about the rear window damage either. And they still have yet to figure out where that glass is from.
Right. And well, they talked about, didn't, oh my God, Welcher in trial 2 talk about the dent? Maybe. Didn't
They
he?
said so. Yeah. So basically, what Welcher did was he just copy and pasted what Trooper Paul and Gary
Yes.
Buchanan did. Like,
Right.
you know, that's all they did. So when he did his testing, right, he did the hand extension, and he's like, he did
Yes.
the yellow for this and the blue for this.
Mhm.
You're just going to keep ignoring the fact that there's random scratches in all the different directions and white paint and scratches above it on the friggin' window that no one wanted
Yes.
to explain.
Yes, that's right. That is
And it
exactly
took
right.
and it took FOIA requests for us to see this, and then for me to actually stare at it for an hour and being like, "Blink, blink, what the hell is that? Why have we never seen this before?"
Yeah. Well, actually, no. I mean, to your point, though, like the Commonwealth went out of their way to make it seem like there was no extra damage to the vehicle. Like they didn't
Yeah.
just like they made it seem as though that the car damage to the tailgate was very minimal, right?
Well, yeah, because that's the thing. I would still consider this minimal in that it wouldn't be that expensive to fix, right? It's a little dent,
Right.
it's some scratches and some paint. Like it's, you know, but I found it very interesting that the auto mechanic didn't fix it either.
Yeah,
He left it
it's
there.
very strange. The whole thing is very strange.
I know. I
This
know.
case, and that's the other thing, and this is what I get upset about, like, because people are saying, well, you know, Karen's not charging or suing Colin Albert, and that must mean not everybody, of course, but I've heard certainly, like my Monday partner says this, you know, well, Karen's attorneys aren't charging him, and so they must not believe that he's in the house, right?
No.
And
I
to
don't think that
me, it's like, well, there's been a lot of things that Karen's attorneys haven't had an interest in or didn't look at, and it doesn't mean anything, right? In terms of what happened to John, like I said, they're two separate things in my mind.
Yeah.
What do you say to somebody who says that?
I always like to say, as much as we don't want to say it's like a game, but court is like a game of chess. And it's
Mhm.
always about trying to get your best outcome. You know, Karen and her team are not investigators. The O'Keefes and their team
Yeah.
are not investigators. They're there to do what they're there to do, whatever
Right.
it is, whatever, you know, I guess is pushing them. But just because Colin has not been named does not mean anything in their minds have changed. It's
Mhm.
just court strategy. It's just
Mm.
legal whatnot, you know. And I think we see that more often, less that statement less on the free Karen Reed side and more on like the quote unquote opposition.
Yeah.
Well, then that must have all been a farce. No,
Right.
I don't
Right.
think so. I just think right now it's best to take a step back from Colin because now look what's happening.
Right. Yeah.
He's fighting depositions. He's fighting handing over documentation, which I think is phone data. I don't know what you think,
Oh,
Sam.
for sure.
You know, I think that'd be the most obvious thing that they would want from him
Yeah.
is his phone information.
Yeah. Well, and also isn't there I forgot what it is. I saw it before earlier today. I looked at it really quick. There's some law that protects you if you're in the military from having to, I don't know if it's come and testify or prosecute. There's like an actual statute that says you're more protected if you are actively enrolled in the military for the time that you're enrolled
Mm-hmm.
or enlisted, I guess.
Well, that's what I mean. And I'm curious though, because this was done all before he did the enlistment. And that
Right.
also includes the O'Keefe versus Karen Canton bars. It includes the federal case, right? Because he'll be involved with that. But also the case that he just filed.
Right.
This is the thing that I'm trying to get wrapped around my brain.
Right.
You knew you were going to be
Right.
filing a lawsuit. You knew this was coming. And then at the same time, you wait for it to be filed and then you go and enlist yourself in the military?
Right. Mm-hmm.
What?
How
And
shady is that?
And you know there's a criminal trial coming up too where you're going to have to go on the stand again. Like,
Yeah.
you know all of this is happening.
Yep.
So I was like I said, if it was one thing, sure, okay. But then it's another, and then it's another, and then it's another by filing the lawsuit.
It never stops. It never stops. No, it's just never going to stop. And it never will because they're guilty of murdering John O'Keefe. That's the problem. These people have a very, very serious problem. And the very serious problem that they have is when you look, and listen, I don't even have to look at the rest of the evidence because I can just look at their testimony and tell you that there is not a cell in my body that does not know that these folks are guilty or at least responsible for the death of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. There's not a cell in my body that's not certain of that because number one, we know Karen is not responsible. The car did not hit John. John didn't hit the car, blah, blah, blah. We already know that. So that leaves that kind of immediately eliminates, I don't know, 99.9% of the whole world, except for the people in the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you have their words and statements and testimony and then the behavior like you're talking about. It's like, okay, is it ever going to stop? Will we ever get to the end? And the answer is no. No, because they're responsible. So there's never going to be an end. And then there's one more question I have for you that's been driving me crazy. And I think you're maybe the only person that I know right now on the planet that could actually answer this question.
Oh boy.
So let me say this differently. I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. The girls that were at the house allegedly, whose names I always screw up, like the Catherine Duty and whatever those girls, that group, right?
Uh-huh.
How do we or why do we believe that they are gone by the
I
time? Okay. Just making sure. I'm just asking because I have not yet seen any evidence that supports that they're not there. And I'm just trying to figure out why do we believe that?
I mean, I've heard from a long, long time ago that there was more people in the house. And then when we heard that those girls were there, I was like, oh, okay, but then they left. But then people were like, no, there were still other people in the house. Because I'm like, oh, well, is that true? Did they actually leave? And now I'm going to catch hell because now Mary Kent's mother, whose also name is Mary Kent, is going to go into my TikTok DMs and be like, stop talking about my daughter. And then I'm going to tell her, go hang out with Morrissey and leave me alone because one of her best friends
that's
is
right.
Morrissey.
Well, you should say, if your daughter wants to have a conversation with us, I am more than happy to tell the whole entire world that she has nothing. I'll fight for her if I discern that it's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they really weren't there, then I'd be the first person to scream from the rooftops that, no, don't worry. We never have to ever think for a second about this group of people because they absolutely were not at that house or anywhere near that house on that morning. But it just strikes me that they worked so hard from the very beginning to try to get all the kids out of the house, everybody. That was the first objective was get all the kids out of the house. And clearly that failed miserably. I'm not exactly sure. I guess Colin failed because the defense started to, found proof that he was in the house.
I think they tried too hard with Colin. That's why.
Right.
They all did.
Yeah, you're right.
They all did.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about even just those girls and the connections they have, it's like you have the town administrators. Well, he was the fire chief and then became the town administrator, that daughter. And then you've got very close to the Morrissey family, another one. I mean, it's just astonishing. And you wonder why they would want those girls out too. Well, and why maybe Morrissey was so protective. And I don't know if you saw this. It was maybe last year at one point during one of the Canton Select Board meetings, Charlie Doody, because he was tired of people talking about Kim Berkowitz, he asked the general public to not speak about Berkey anymore, to basically respect him, respect the dead, and respect the family.
Not say anything at all, you're saying, one way or
Right,
just
right. Don't talk about Kim Berkowitz anymore.
like all of us, you're saying.
Everyone.
Well,
And I said, yeah, no, no. He
Yeah.
was doing his own thing, and he actually found a piece of taillight over a shoe print. So no, I think that Mother Ducker was in the Sallyport for a widely long time with Brian Higgins, and I think he wanted a piece of the action, which is why he found a piece of taillight over a shoe print.
Yeah. Okay. So this is really like my second to last question for you. And then we have to get chat. We have to get to you seriously, because I know I like to keep you forever doing this. Okay. Wait. So seriously, let's go back to the evidence on the ground. So we're going to take us all the way back to like 6:35, January 29th, 2022.
Okay.
John is gone. He's on the way to the hospital, or he's on the hospital. The scene is clearing. Like, what's on the ground that morning? What is actually there that they find or don't find, and how did it get there?
Is it? I believe the hat was out there.
Right.
I am hard pressed to believe the shoe was out there, but if it so happens to be along the berm and it didn't get run over, but I have a hard time believing that, simply because after watching the dash cams from all of the angles,
That's true.
like, there's cruisers up and down that berm, like Carrie's vehicle multiple times. It's the ambulance didn't go near it. None of the fire engine and the other engine thing that they had didn't go near it. But all Carrie's and the cop cars were like up and down, like several times, at least. Like, good moved his vehicle like 3 or 4 times, where Mulaney moved it once. So, like, do I think the hat was already out there? Yes. Do I think the shoe might have been out there? Do I think the cell phone was out there? Yes. Because if you watch from what's his name, Mulaney, his cruiser is facing the house this way, where the other cruisers are facing this way.
Yeah.
If you look close enough, you can see Carrie pick up the baby blanket, and you can see her have the phone. Thing is, she then somehow at some point gives it to Mulaney. Mulaney hands it off to Good, because then the step data tracks better than it does for really anything else. From what I've been able to look into
that morning. The stuff
I'm telling you,
it's tough. The step data for the phone is very, very
it's
screwed
a
up.
lot. It's a lot. And
It's a mess.
it takes hours to analyze all of this footage. Hours. And I will say about this too, because a lot of people that haven't been to Fairview or haven't like stopped in front of Fairview, specifically right in front of the driveway. And the couple of times when I pulled up that way, obviously the driveway's to my right. If you pull up pretty much right next to the mailbox, or even before the mailbox, you lose all service. Like, everything. And the reason why I know this is because me and some friends had done some testing in regards to Allie and Colin's alibi, and testing what the drive is like from 34 Fairview to Colin's house on Maple Street, but then also someone walking from the waterfall to Colin and Chris's to see the time difference. And so I'm waiting to get set up right in front of 34 Fairview. And we did this 2 or 3 times. And each time when I'm sitting right in front of the driveway, I'm losing service. I'm losing connection every single time. And I'm not able to stay there. Now, when I pull up, say like, where Jen saw Karen, you get service again.
Stop it. So wait a minute. Let's wait. This is
I'm
so
sorry.
important.
It's another bombshell, isn't it?
Did you just say that if you're by the flagpole, you get service? If you're by the driveway, you don't get service? Is that
you get? Yeah. No, and I'm on Verizon, so specifically me. But you lose service like almost completely, because I remember we were on StreamYard, doing this, not live, but like still filming. And like
Yeah.
when I'm driving or you see me right in front of the mailbox, like we go wicked blurry, me and my friend in my car, because we have no service. Well, there's just nothing there. So I was considering this in the step data and the location of it all, and then the connection to Karen's vehicle
Oh
with
my
John's
God.
phone,
Yeah. I
but
know
then
what you're saying.
also the flight of stairs, and if there's something off with the GPS because of the storm. I'm like, how much of this is incorrect versus correct, and how do we need an expert, because like
Yeah.
no one considered it. 'Cause I remember Brian Albert being like, "Oh, it's a dead zone." It's true. Obviously, I don't know about in the house, but I can
Yeah.
absolutely agree. In front of that mailbox and a little bit before it, a little bit before the driveway, it's like this little 10 foot of nothing there for
Yeah.
some
Yeah. Yeah.
reason.
But I'll tell you what, though, that matches with what Ian Whiffen. So remember that there's a whole period of time. So some of Ian Whiffen's information, like, because I just hated him for so long, so much, and just didn't believe anything he said because he's just such like he's so clearly a warrior for them
Yeah.
that I just instantaneously I'm like, all right, everything you're saying is biased and obviously just not valid for that reason.
Yeah.
But he ends up really helping Karen, actually, because he proves the phone is moving towards the house and that there is no service. Exactly to your point, that the phone has really low accuracy data, but he goes as far as to explain like exactly how low accuracy. And it's like normally, let's say, for example, you would get like 500,000 bits of data per 5 seconds. I mean, it's something like for location data, that's how many different data points your phone is pulling in like a second, right? For location data. But during this time, it's like 50.
Yeah.
Right. So, in other words, you're exactly right. Like that phone is in a dead zone. Right.
Yeah.
And I know just from living in Massachusetts also that there are those areas like when you're driving around and all of a sudden you just go dead for 3 minutes and then you come back just because of, whatever, trees, different elevation, whatever. So that completely makes sense to me based on just, where the house is, right? Like how it goes with cell phones. Here's the thing though that Ian Whiffen didn't say and that you make very important as a point. His whole thing is, oh, the phone is in front of the flagpole, right? Well, no, that's what you just said is no. Actually, if it was in front of the flagpole, we would have had
service,
much better accuracy information.
Yep.
So that's not where the phone was. Is really what you just said.
No.
I mean, not that we don't already know the phone was. We know that already. It's not like I need him to tell us that, but.
Right.
It is interesting that if we did listen to his data, if we do want to believe any of it, it does sort of support what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, Ian Whiffen lost me when he said the flights or stairs were on Oakdale. And as someone who did some community service for the town of Canton and was spending time on Oakdale, I go, this is the straightest, flattest road I think I have ever been on. And that's not even an exaggeration because I literally looked down it and I'm like, this is a straight, flat road.
Right.
It's like a road in New York City when it just has a couple of crossroads with it, like blocks. And I'm like, this is the biggest farce. And it made me mad again to be physically walking down the street to be like, no, it's not a hilly road, sir.
He's so full of shit. But I will say, Michael Easter's report, to see that recently, that was helpful because, like he's saying, look, some of this cell phone data, it points us in the right direction, but you have to be careful. You don't want to take it as like the law. Right. Usually the way we take Cellbrite data is we use it as like a guide. It points us in a direction and then we look to verify it. They didn't do any of that part.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually looking at Michael Easter's report last night and I was doing a little research on it because I'm like, what does he mean by this? What do the towers for Verizon mean for this? And because it does say in his report, which is where some of the, opposition tends to think like, well, see, he's saying that Karen Reed was at 34 Fairview up until like what they say, 1237. I'm like, no, that's not what he's saying. He's saying that it's possible. I forget the actual term. However, usually when you have these huge towers, they don't just do like a mile. They can do several miles of footage.
I
Otherwise, they're
see.
gonna,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Otherwise,
Yes.
they're gonna have towers friggin' everywhere. So
Right.
it just so happens that 34 Fairview and One Meadows are like just a little over 2 miles from one another. So they're on the same towers. It doesn't mean she was still at 34 Fairview. It just means she
Right.
still was in this tower thing.
Right. On that tower is what
That's all
yeah,
that
she's
means.
right. She's still connected to the Wi-Fi is the problem there, right? It's not, but it doesn't matter. Like to your point, what he is saying, Easter, is like we needed to take this and then go to Google and then go to Apple and then go get verification.
Right.
And they didn't do any of that, right? And that's why I think we all struggle with that same data because we're not professionals and we're not experts. And then, of course, you can find an expert apparently if you pay him enough to tell you just about anything. So then you get into like integrity and who do I believe and all of that, right? And that's kind of why at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to analyze witness testimony because that's the only thing that I personally in my own brain trust and know. Like I don't know data, cell phone data enough to be able to say one way or the other. I know Ian Whiffen is an absolute schmuck. That I know. Like I know that he's like the least most trustworthy person in the universe, but whether or not what he's saying is factual or not, how can I know that, right? So yeah, we do need experts. And I also feel like we just really needed like a legitimate investigator with integrity to come clean and be honest.
Right. Especially when you have all those handwritten notes. They sure are damning.
Aren't those handwritten notes something? Oh my God, they really are something.
I'm flabbergasted.
I know it's really unbelievable. Let me read some of these. Hi, Ruth Ann. Happy anniversary. Member for 10 months. Ruth Ann. We go way back, Ruth Ann and I. Hi, Ginny. Also a member for 8 months. Love you both on this show. I've been so upset about this case. I can't let it go. Thank you for validating my craziness. So many layers. Join the club, dear. Join the club. It's tough. You know, sometimes with this case, I need like a timeout and I appreciate Mackenzie Shirillo when she comes along because it's like, you know, it's just like, this is such a breeze in comparison because this case can get you really, really upset really easily.
Yeah.
Really easily. What do you think about the Faraday bag idea?
People were saying that, you know, Brian Albert had already had it. The only way that we've gotten it is from like Canton PD, from Berkey or Higgins going in there. You know what I mean? Would that be something that might be in Higgins' vehicle, his government vehicle? Yeah, it'd be a part of his job. So it's like, do I fully believe? I don't know. Again, the temperature thing. Dream Feed Media just came out with a new video. She's really good at analyzing these type of things, so I need to go and watch that because she's very, very smart and she's analytical on those type of things. So
I'll take a look.
Yeah, she's great. I love her.
Yeah. I will definitely take a look. At Forever Jaded One, member for 7 months. Hi, Forever Jaded One. Do you think the Ford Edge was Kevin Albert's?
It's either Kevin's or Colin's. So it's either Kevin driving Kevin's own Ford Edge or it's Chris driving Colin's Ford Edge.
Right.
That
is my belief.
Yeah, it would be a family member. It wouldn't be anyone else.
No, it's not going to be anybody else. It's an Albert, without a doubt. It could have been both of them, by the way. I mean, not both with the Ford Edge, but he could have had Chris and Kevin. I mean, you're only going to have the people there that you trust.
Yeah.
Your brothers. That's it.
Right.
But you know what's really interesting? I want Colin to not have been in that house and not be involved. But every second, and now with what's going on today, this very day, and yesterday, with this kid shipping himself off to the army at the same days after he drops a lawsuit. I mean, is this starting to just become like, you can't ignore it?
It's a pattern.
It's beyond it. It's like, Colin,
what they do.
you know, like maybe you should just be quiet and go away. And instead, now you're just making yourself look much more guilty. Like,
why would you file a lawsuit if you knew you were going to? He's
Yes.
going to boot camp, however many days that is. I know, I'm sure
It's
there's still
90?
some veterans that know, right?
Yeah, I think it's 90, but yes. Yeah.
But also,
yes.
how old is Colin?
Yeah. 25.
20,
No. How old is
22,
24?
23
24?
ish,
Something.
right?
Not
'cause
that old.
the video of him doing the being sworn in or whatever,
I know.
he's surrounded by like babies, like freshly out of
I know. Like ROTC. I know. That's what Vince was saying. I know. I know. It's a weird video. And why do we have that video? Do you know how we got that video?
No idea.
Okay.
No idea.
I just thought, why do we have this? Like, why do we have this video? It just seems like a strange thing to have. I don't know.
People will come out of the woodwork with some things. You just gotta say the right things and ask the right questions, and all of a sudden you get something in your inbox. You go, oh,
okay. Good. All right. Good to
You're
know.
like,
That's right. Yeah.
good to know.
That's right. Okay. At Bite My Bit sends $5. Google tactical medic stretcher, move dead weight with minimal trace evidence transfer. Google tactical medical stretcher.
John, on the back of his jeans, and I was just looking at this the other day, at the butt of his jeans, where I've always said he was propped up, as you can tell by the blood flow. It almost looks like finger marks are going up in blood. I want to take a closer look at that, but I think he was just carried, to be completely honest.
Carried outside.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? You think he was carried outside?
I think he was just carried, yeah.
So I actually think my belief is that he hit his head on the fireplace and that they moved him into the basement. And the reason why I say that is because I just thought this was so obvious. I was like, there's no way, like the whole floor thing being ripped up. And like, so that did happen. I mean, they absolutely did redo their floor.
Yep.
And it is absolutely related to this case, which was really surprising to me. I just always assumed like, that's so obvious, right? Like but it is verified by just analyzing his testimony and on cross-examination. He's absolutely lying about why. He gives an explanation, and it is verified absolute deception by Brian Albert. By the way, Brian Albert has like the most straightaway poker tell of any of the witnesses. Like his is so hard and fast. It's always, it's like you can, set your clock by it, which is really kind of funny and ironic. But anyway, that tell he is displaying on, full display when he's being asked about why he dug up the floor. He says it was from a leaky toilet. It is not from a leaky toilet. Big surprise. So at some point, John is there. He has to be.
Yeah. And if you go back and look at when Karen and her, it was Alan, Liza, and their private investigator, they went down, and we have some images of the flooring, and it's like, who did this? You paid for this?
Oh, interesting.
Oh, it's so bad, Sam. Oh, it's so bad. Okay, so you come down the stairs, right? And there's a bunch of crap because it's someone's basement now. But you look at the floor, and it's like 3 different types of material, and then there's a little bathroom. So there's the back door, right, that goes up to the backyard. Next to that is a bathroom. And you go in there, and it's like a nicely well done bathroom. But then I think whoever was taking the video turned and then went down, so you could see like the edge of the flooring. This was the most half-ass flooring project I have ever seen. I hope he didn't pay for that. I hope he didn't pay for that, because it was gross. And then I found an old image from before they did the flooring over, and they lift up the gym puzzle flooring that they have, and it's wet and soggy underneath the gym. It's wet, not damp, not like humid. It's gross.
That's gross. That's interesting, though. It's not
stank like that.
But it is not a good job. In other words, like if there was any type of, I don't know, I mean, do you think these guys are that stupid that they would ever leave evidence in the house?
I think it depends on the timing of it, right? Because even if you look at the Zillow pictures, there are things where you kind of go, "Huh, that's weird."
There's a lot of sure. Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
Wait, okay, so hold on. I want to ask you this. In homes, especially high traffic areas, we usually we don't have outright carpet, we have some type of rug,
Of course.
right?
Yes. Like in the living room.
And why the hell is there no rug or carpet in the living room?
Yeah.
Where their TV is,
It's
where they
very, very bizarre.
spend all of their time there in that living room. Why is there no rug?
It's a great question. I mean, when we got in the chat, I wish I don't remember. I don't have it starred. Maybe I do have it starred. Somebody, when we first got in the chat today, said exactly the same thing. Yeah. Where the hell is the rug? Great question. Where is the rug? Why is there no rug?
And that carpet that she has, that was also something I looked into. I was like, that carpet matches from the upstairs bedrooms more than anything, because there was some really old carpet in the bedrooms and then some like newer-ish, but they're all like that brown dingy type of like carpeting. And that's the carpet that was photographed that Karen has in storage. So
wait a minute. Let's go back. What does Karen have in storage?
Oh, you didn't know she has carpet?
No.
From 34 Fairview?
How does she have carpet from why and how?
Oh, because Turtle was driving by one friggin' random day and he saw a van and they were putting carpet on it. So I guess he reached out to Karen and then they were able to swindle the guy and get carpet.
Wait a minute. He was going by the house and there was somebody like, oh, we're getting rid of carpet?
He was just like a van, like a carpet. Like they were just getting rid of carpet. And so Turtle told Karen.
At the house, you're saying?
Yes.
At 34 Fairview. Someone is taking carpet away from the house.
Yes.
What are the odds of that?
I don't.
What are the odds that is a thing?
So there's pictures. I have it on my phone. I'm pretty sure Nick Rocco posted it last summer, and I've saved all of this. I'm like, this is fucking fascinating. But she's had it in storage. But what they did, they brought it to someone's house, right? And they're carefully laying it out. They have it all like photographed, and they put like whatever like signs on it, letting you know the date and where it's from. And it's like, oh, so interesting.
Wow.
But I'm pretty sure it's still in like storage, but climate controlled, so it won't degrade the quality of if anything is on it.
So it's not been tested, to what you're saying?
No, and I believe Karen said that to test that, like per swab, I think is like a couple of grand, $5,000 is some crazy amount to get DNA testing on stuff like that, which is why that happens. But yeah.
Well, listen, I mean, if you started a GoFundMe account right now, we could probably make that together by like the end of the week.
I know, for the carpet testing. I know.
For the DNA testing. Right? Like I would contribute. I'd be all in on putting money towards that if I knew that's what it was going towards.
Yeah, because a lot of people thought originally it may have been from the basement, but that part of the basement really was the original flooring was what it was, and then they had like the gym puzzle pieces over it.
Yep.
And then when they took that up, they just put subflooring, different types of subflooring. It wasn't anything spectacular.
Right. It wasn't a rug. It was
And if I remember correctly from the video, when they go into the bathroom, there's another room through there that's all nicely redone. So I think that is the room that originally had the leak in it, because the bathroom would be right above that room, looking at the layout of
the house.
home. That makes sense for that, because it does look like that's new carpet, new paint in there. It does look like it's newly been redone. But this main one that was part of the gym, it was
interesting.
Boys looking out stinky.
That's gross. Christina Leone of 4811. What is RSD? Do you know what RSD is?
Is it Russian?
I don't know.
Probably rubies. I don't know. I'm the worst.
I don't know either.
I'm not good with money or numbers.
I know, neither am I. And I feel terrible, Christina, because I don't know how to speak about this, but I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Right? I don't know how to speak about what this means. I really wish I did.
You say thank
If
you.
anybody else knows, let me know. Please let me know. At Melly Girl sends $5. Maybe KR and BH did the naughty before January 28th. Then at the waterfall, Brian sent Karen text well because she ignored him out of regret and he wanted attention. Your thoughts?
Well, he definitely wanted attention.
Yes, that's true. The well text was for attention.
Yeah,
for sure.
I just go back to, things I've been told about Higgins and things that he may have said. He's not the type to fight. He's just like almost like a mush. I don't know how to explain it, but like,
oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
soft.
Yeah. Yeah, he would be the type of person where if you push him, he kind of just caves and like just wants to almost what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? Not suck up, but like make people happy and make sure that they're not upset with him, and he'll do anything to make sure people aren't upset with him for some reason.
Okay.
So like I could totally see him texting that and being like, well, why aren't you paying attention to me too? But now we know that they did. Like, they were interacting a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
He was left on red.
Yeah. I don't think they had sex at all. No doubt. I mean, to me, they didn't. That's kind of the problem. If they had slept together, I think we would have seen more communication. That's my feeling. Because I get in trouble when we go down this road. I start to get into trouble with my mouth here. So what do you think? You tell us what you think.
mean, unless they did and it was so bad that she goes, oh no, I can't do this.
Right. Yes, that's right. But I doubt it because
Yeah, I don't think so.
I just don't think so.
I don't
right?
think so. I mean, I think she maybe went over to his house. They had a conversation. Maybe they had like a makeout and she realized he's not what I'm actually into.
Yeah. Or, yeah, it's weird. There is another text that I don't remember seeing in the trials after that. That's like, it's very ambivalent. Well, what did you make a decision? And she's like, I don't know. When he's like, all right, well, I feel ya. Like, in other words, he's trying to like cut and run before she dumps it. I mean, the whole thing is, it's a lot of ambivalence is the way I read it. Like, she's not sure and she's not ready to leave John. And that's the bottom line.
But also too, if she's attracted to a personality, knowing Karen's personality, if she's attracted to someone with the personality like John O'Keefe,
right,
she's not going to be attracted to the personality of someone like Brian Higgins. He's a bit of a pushover.
Right. And what she wanted was him to take charge, and he wasn't going to do it. That's what happened, right?
Right. Because think about it. She's well established. 2 careers, her own home, beautiful vehicle. She can take care of herself. She wants someone that's going to be able to step up and be an alpha. She'll fight them on it.
Yeah.
She's also an alpha, but she likes, dare I say, like a manly man. So
definitely 100%. Yes. And that's the problem. I mean, that's the problem that they have that night, actually. Yeah. Not the night of the well text, the night of their get together. Right before she goes in, he's like, are you going to take charge? And it's like they're having this who's going to take charge conversation. It's like, that's not what Karen wants at all. Karen is co-signing that he take charge and he's not doing it. To your point, like, yeah, to your point. Because Karen doesn't really fit in with this group. I mean, there's no other reason to be with them except for what you're saying. I mean, she likes the like cop. She likes that like roughneck kind of thing. And I think that's why she's there because she doesn't really, this isn't her crowd, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Even go back to like Higgins confronting John. Like you can just tell in the waterfall, he didn't want to. He didn't want to. It was even Chris Albert that was pulling him. Like even at then he didn't want to.
Yeah, he's very he's a sensitive guy, Brian Higgins.
Sensitive.
He's like emotional. I think he has like major trauma. I can't figure it out. I mean, he's the person throughout both trials who cries the most during his testimony. And that's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true.
Right? Which
It's
is
true.
like, oh, interesting. Okay. So he's clearly got a lot of pain, a lot of loss. I got a bad feeling. She sends 1999. Hello, lovely ladies. You are so fun together. Thank you both so very much. Samantha, I don't have an award for you. You are my hero for so many reasons. Love and appreciate you so much. Justice for John. Thank you. Got a bad feeling. And you don't have to ever have an award for me. Thank you. That's like, Derek is an amazing human being, but it's such an uncomfortable thing for me to accept something like that. I'm like, I didn't know what to do. So
it's fun. Just take it, Sam. Just
take
it in.
He's such a good guy too. So I was like, all right, no problem. But it's so awkward. For me, at Denise Carter, L7JW sends 10 pounds. Congratulations, Samantha, on your award yesterday. Thank you. The game is indeed afoot from a sleepy Denise in Lancs, UK. Lancs, UK. Lancs, yeah? Lancs?
Lonks?
Yeah, probably not spelled, pronounced the way I just said it. Yes. Thank you so much, Denise. You are amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you. And she gifts a membership. Thanks, Denise, so much for gifting a membership. Okay, we're gonna take a break and we are gonna let you exit us because I've kept you for almost 3 hours.
I'm so used to this. I'm like Carrie. I'm a talker. I could go on and on and on.
Me too. I don't even time just like goes. I'm like really I can talk forever and ever and ever. That's like the one thing I can do endlessly, just so we're at least together like this on that, especially though in this case too, because it's like, I mean, it's not every day that you just have somebody that you can talk to endlessly about this case. I don't know if you're in a relationship or married or what, but they get sick of us after a while. Like they don't, they don't want to. It's like, all right, enough. Eye roll, that kind of thing. So
just be quiet already.
Exactly. Right. Just, okay. I know. I hear the name Karen Reed again. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming on with me. And we absolutely have to do it again.
Yes.
You amazing. And I have so many questions and so many topics. And there's so many things. It's like endless. We could really seriously do this for like 48 hours, probably straight and nonstop. So
yeah.
Please come again. Thank you so much for being with us. And for everybody else, we're going to take a fervent break because I have to run to the restroom. Boozey Beauty, you are the best. And we will see you again very, very soon. And everybody, if you go ahead.
I said, I appreciate you so much. Don't ever smart. And I can't wait for you to be done with your degree so that can be done. You can just say, I am finally.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. It won't be for a while. Let me tell you that. It won't be for a while but I appreciate you very much for saying that.
Always.
Thank you, the beautiful, the great Boozey Beauty. She is outstanding. If you guys do not follow her on TikTok, that's like, she is an outstanding. I do very long content. Obviously, you guys know that. For me, the hard thing to do is like 5 minutes, to put a video together for 3 minutes is really tough. To have it be substantial and interesting and engaging and meaningful, and nobody straight away does it better than she does. So definitely check her out on all the platforms. And for the rest of us, we will be back. I am going to absolutely read everybody's everything in just a moment. In the meantime, we're going to take a very quick fervent break so I can run to the restroom, and then we'll be back and we will do all of that in just a moment. See you back here in 3.
Called you up into my office. Got you flowers and some chocolate. I don't really do this often. but I think we need some talking. First off, is it Deva or Diva? I think I have liver fever. But before we take this deeper, I need to know if you're a keeper. What did you see in the salad bowl? Are you sure it's something you need to report? I got an idea, I hope you agree. How about you blame it on a false memory? When the feds came, why did you sing? You should've knew better and gave me a ring. Know this and know this only. Before you go and give your testimony, Officer Deva, do the right thing. Do the right thing. Oh, do the right thing. Do the right thing. Oh, do the right thing. Don't get it twisted, this ain't a bribe. But if you tell the truth, there goes that 9 to 5. No more 6-figure salary. If you say what you saw on that Sally Port screen, I'll have your back. Unless they ask me some questions, I'll have your back. Until I throw you under the bus, I'll have your back. Let this be a lesson, I'll have your back. Really means I won't have your back. When the feds came, why did you sing? You should've knew better and gave me a ring. Know this and know this only. Before you go and give your testimony, Officer Deva, do the right thing. Do the right thing. Oh, do the right thing. Do the right thing. Oh, do the right thing. Unfortunately, Kelly, you're the only one going down. There won't be a public records lawsuit that'll expose me or anything.
I'm back.
Damn fervent. How many bangers you got?
I love these songs. They're such good songs. They really are. Like, I hate to skip the break now because I really like this song.
Woke up under arrest.
I get to keep hearing it though. Hi guys. This is so much fun, right? I mean, one of the most amazing things, and many of you are among this group, those that know the case from the very, very, very first day, like from January 29th, right? 2022. So it's wonderful just to get to talk to somebody who has so much insight, so much knowledge, so much inside knowledge too, and who's followed it so closely and has also followed the legal pieces so closely as well, especially once you get into the civil stuff, because the civil suit is monotonous. It's so much paperwork. I still have not gone through the entire suit by the Hams folks, the Ham suit, because it's so much and it gets me so angry. Right. And I can only, at this old age of mine, I can only take so much anger at once. Right. Like, there's few people in this world anymore that can make me like extremely angry. And amongst that group are the McAlberts. And when I read the absolute bullshit that comes out of their mouths and see it in a lawsuit, it's like, you can't make it up. You just can't make it up. Like, just even the very notion that, David Yannetti's text message to Aiden while he's trying to uncover this conspiracy, try to figure out what the hell happened here, those get, brought in and then presented in a way that makes it sound like something it isn't. It's just, if you have to misrepresent knowingly people's, facts, things that actually happen, if you have to frame them in a light that is false, don't you think like that should be enough right there to be like, all right, this doesn't smell right. Maybe we shouldn't do this, right? And one of the things that came out, at least for me today, in this very quick, uh, it was a hearing, or I don't even know, is that what it's called when they come back together like they were today? So today's very short Zoom call hearing with all the lawyers was in the family, the estate, the O'Keefe estate versus Karen. So that was the group that came together today. And in that very bizarre little exchange, which I have some video of for those of you that maybe didn't see it, that it helped me to understand the extent of at some point in the somewhat near future, of the discovery that we're going to get from all of these lawsuits. It's going to be a lot of new information, witnesses that I've never heard of, people that were witnesses at CF McCarthy's, people that were at the waterfall that none of us know, bartenders, just eyewitnesses. But then you start to get the extent to which like Colin and his documentation is going to get, well, maybe not Colin specifically, because now he's hiding in the military. By the way, just as a follow-up to that, I've had some associates in my life who have, gone into the Army or into the Marines and didn't make it very long. Now, everything I know about Colin Albert says to me that he could very well be one of those people. So would I be surprised if 7 months from now we're looking at whatever, I guess, I don't know if it's an honorable discharge or some type of discharge prematurely for some reason because he can't take being away from home, or he thinks people are looking at him funny, whatever it is. Leaving home to enlist in the military is not quite an easy thing to do. So we'll see how long he's even able to abscond, if that is in fact his intent. But it is pretty shady. Like, on one hand, part of me thinks, you know what? It's a good decision. It's a logical decision. Colin needs to go do something. I mean, this kid has been doing nothing for how long? He dropped out of Bridgewater State. He's just been at home, like driving back and forth to the pizza shop every day to get money from dad, I'm guessing. Like, what is he doing? He's got to go do something. And so in a way, it kind of makes sense. But the timing is just so incredibly shady that he drops a lawsuit and then a week later, 10 days later, is just gone, right? Doesn't just happens to not show up for his depositions. It's like, okay, these people, it's just, what a disgrace. Just really a disgrace. Hello at Bite My Bits sends $10. Norfolk voters, the winner of the Democratic primary is who will win the DA. Only one Democrat will make the ticket. So if you are registered Republican, you must change to unenroll to be able to vote in September primary. Spread the word. Yeah, that, or yes, or an independent, right? Because you can't vote as an independent, I don't think either, in the primary. Now, let me ask you this. I was going to ask this to Boozey, but you guys may also have an opinion that, you may actually know the answer to this. If somebody loses in the Democratic primary, so if, for example, Connor wins, could one of the other candidates also run as an independent or a Republican in the actual race? Now, that might be a really stupid question. I've never thought about it before. To be completely transparent, I didn't know. I had changed my allegiance to independent like 2 years ago. And I didn't know that you can't just like go vote in a primary, that you have to be a registered Democrat or Republican to be able to vote in the primary part of the election. I didn't know that. So that is an absolutely incredibly good point. If you are, and thank you, Bite My Bits, for reminding all of us, if you are a registered something other than a Democrat and you live in Norfolk County and you want to vote in the Democratic primary, who will very likely be the winner of the election for DA in November, you must unenroll to be able to vote in the primary, which is very interesting. So definitely spread the word. It is so, 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 so important. I have to believe it's going to be a huge turnout for that Democratic primary. I have to believe that because of all of us and because of the amount of attention the Sandra Birchmore and Karen Reed cases have gotten. But who knows? You don't know, right? It is the a couple days before Labor Day, so fingers crossed. At Raquel Ware 9397 sends $5. Question: the feds told Morrissey he was done or get prosecuted. Is that how Deitch knew there would be an opening on the ballot? He knew enough to relocate. Question: the feds told Morrissey he was done or get prosecuted. I'd never heard that before. So I don't think that's true. I don't think that the feds told him that. As far as I know, I've never heard that. And I know that Boozey Beauty doesn't think that either, because I had spoken to her. We were talking about Morrissey being reelected, and she had said that his wife was the one who pulled the plug on the idea of running again because he wanted her to spend time with his grandchildren. That is what she just told us a little while ago. So I don't think so. I don't think the feds told him that he was done. I think he made that decision. So I don't think so. I think that, I mean, you really would have to be like stupid if you're Morrissey to think he could win. I think the other big indicator was fundraising. I think he kind of saw the writing on the wall, probably leading up to election season, like knowing, all right, the writing is on the wall. I'm not able to raise the same amount of money that I had in times past. I'm not sure. So I don't think so. I think that everybody just knew that he was probably not going to run. That's my sense, because you could kind of see the writing on the wall. But according to Greg Connor, who, take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, because my early assessment of him is that he's full of a lot of it, even on questions that didn't really seem like a reason to be full of it. He told us that he did not decide to run until February of this year. So, and you would think that he would have known earlier, before the rest of us, that Morrissey wasn't going to run officially. But again, I don't know. I don't know if I can believe what he says either. At Lynn Jennings is a member for 1 month. Happy 1 month, Lynn Jennings. Sam, the award on Monday, made me cry. Your analysis was truly amazing. I believe it will be the linchpin resulting in justice. Oh my God, thank you so much, Lynn. That's such an honor. I know it was. Well, so Derek had reached out to me the day before, so I had known that it was coming. I'm glad I knew it was coming, because I probably would have been a puddle if they had just sprung it on me. I think I probably would have been, all kinds of emotional, because I was, when he reached out to me the day before and told me about it. So I completely get it. But thank you so much for your support and for saying that. It's a lot, right? It's a lot. Just going through it myself. Sometimes I feel like when I'm doing these analysis, it doesn't feel like it's mine. It feels like a skill that I developed, right? That I just learned. And because it's not mine, I'm surprised. I'm going through the analysis and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe what I just read. Like, that's crazy. I'll have to read it many times. So that's how I felt going through the testimony that you saw, on the Innocence series, trying to figure out what happened to John. And I bet you, just talking to Boozey made me realize this. I bet if I went back now too, and went back through the whole group, and we get new testimony or from these depositions someday that we'll get to see, and I bet you we're going to get even more information because there's a lot of people being deposed. A lot of people. Going to be fascinating. At Kiki 3JS sends 4.99. Colin has to be involved. There's no way that McAlberts go to this length to protect Higgins. It has to be because Colin was involved. You know what? I am starting to believe that more and more. I really am. Listening to Boozey talk about how Higgins' character is, he's kind of, like a pacifist. Ostensibly, that's what she was saying, that he's not a fighter. He's not going to just kick your ass. One of the early assessments that I made about Higgins was that he's carrying a lot of guilt, definitely, but it's not the kind of guilt you would expect from the murderer. It's guilt it's like indirect guilt. It's like, it's my fault because I told him to come that night. It's that kind of guilt. It's not the kind of guilt you would expect from the person who actually took his life. Does that make sense? So I agree with you. I mean, I think it's starting to get almost getting like, I don't want to say obvious because it's the wrong word. But when I go back through Colin Albert's testimony, you guys, Colin, I mean, first of all, to anybody with eyes, even, by the way, including the 5-skin team, even they have a hard time defending Colin Albert outright. Even those guys. So, and I'm not going to get into the details, but on X this morning, Rachel Decoder, who's the best, incredible with technical data. I mean, just so good. And she had put up a little, like, kind of a, I forget exactly what the topic even was, but it was like a bunch of little clips from different videos that she put together. One of them was the person with red hair that's part of the 5 girls group. I forget what her name is. Julie? Is that her name? The red hair? I forget her name. Whatever. That person. And she says, she's talking about Colin's story, and she's like, God, what was the exact phrase? Something to the effect of, like, I don't want to get it wrong, but it's something like, I could almost believe that, or, the way that she phrases it, something really simple, but it was so clear to me that the way that she framed it, what she was really saying was, yeah, this isn't believable. Like, she was trying to say that she could see a world where Colin's telling the truth. But if you're saying that you could see a world where he probably is telling the truth, then what you're actually saying is this story is bullshit. This is not a believable story. If you have to actually go out of your way to tell us that you could probably see a world where it could be true, what you're actually saying is, yeah, this isn't true. This isn't what happened. You're validating that this is a completely absurd story. What she was talking about was the fall, scratching his knuckles when he fell in the driveway, and he had a beer in one hand and a phone in the other, or some nonsense, whatever. But even they have a hard time saying that he's being honest, because he's not. And it's very, very, very obvious. So even if you just took his testimony, Colin's testimony is far and away, I mean, there's absolutely no question that anybody with eyes and ears could see that he was completely full of shit. But when you go through and he's asked very specifically, did you have a problem with John O'Keefe? And he's lying when he says never. Okay, that's a lie. So what are we left then to conclude? So if he had a problem with John, if there was a conflict with John, and if there was a fight with John, and he's saying no, never, I mean, we already know that he was involved. Like, he was involved. I agree with you, Kiki. I think it's getting just impossible not to conclude he was involved. It really is. I mean, not to mention his alibi is blown to shit. The Life 360, the fact that when you look very, very closely, guys, at the testimony of his parents, that timeline is destroyed. Timeline is blown up. So, they have to get rid of Colin because I mean, you saw how it went the first time. How do you think it's going to go this time? At KidPack sends $9.99. Hey, Sam, love the show and all you do. West Coast member, finally catching live. Hi, Boozey. I'll make sure KidPack I send this along. Look at this picture. Oh my God, that is like the cutest little outfit. Thanks so much, KidPack, for your support and for being here with us as a West Coast representative. We have a new member, VMCYK. Welcome. For any new members, please make sure you check out the online courses that are available in the member portal. And if you can't find it there, go to the posting wall and you'll see all the login information there. Also, please don't forget to do that. Welcome, Pisces 227. Welcome. At Chat Signal. Hi, Chat Signal is a member for 5 months. I was so late. Can't wait to start the rewatch tonight. Love your work, Sam. Thanks, Chat Signal. You're the best. Thank you for being here with us. At Pat's Lover Bobby sends $20. Remember, Higgins had to add in that he was also, of course, a tactical medic. Of course, I remember. That's like one of the Alan Jackson most classic moments, was questioning him. To me, that was important to Brian Higgins. Absolutely important. Yes. He tried to save John. Yes. You are correct. That is what happened. Yes. You got it. That's exactly right. He absolutely tried to save John. Higgins is interesting. He tells us a lot. In a way, it's similar to Jen. Jen tells us a lot too, not in exactly the same way, but why am I saying that? In that whole exchange, you're absolutely right. He is telling us he absolutely tried to save him. And this tactical medic part was how I became certain that they knew right away that he was going to die. If the people in that house were not such high level, I mean, I don't even know what is the right word. First responders. That's the right word. If you think about it, Brian Higgins is like the most prepared, the most high level person of the whole group as a first responder because he was a firefighter. He was a lieutenant firefighter for years. He came from a long family of firefighters. So that's first responder, right? That's an actual first responder. And then on top of that, his job in the military is to be a tactical medic. So of all of the people in and around 34 Fairview, he's probably the most qualified to help John. More qualified probably than the police that are going to show up if a 911 call comes, right? Just as qualified as the EMTs. So he would have known very, very quickly how bad John's injuries were. And that's important. I mean, they would have known he was going to die without a doubt. And this is the part that just kills me. Like, it just kills me. I mean, think about it. Think about the fact that, okay, let's just say whether you believe that the car is in front of 34 Fairview and John is out and in the house by 12:22, or you think it happens between 12:20 or around 12:24 and change, one way or the other, what does that give them? An extra 2 minutes to then make the decision not to call 911? That's crazy. It's so crazy. Like, and I guess, I guess if you're also the same group who's going to befriend the O'Keefe family to get them on your side after you murdered him, I guess then you are obviously capable of this. But I'm with you, Pat's Lover, Bobby. I'm with you. I agree with you. I wholeheartedly agree with you. That's why it's getting so hard not to look at Colin. At Emily C. Hi, Emily C. Send $9.99. Number 1, obsessed with you both. Number 2, nope. No hat until February 3rd. Stop it, Emily. Stop it. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me think about this. I don't think I knew that. I think I was under the impression that the hat was like part of the very first, the cups and the glass. No hat until February 3rd. Wow. Wow, Emily, that's insane. So no hat. And they found the shoe in the little part of the berm. Oh my God. When was the shoe found? Wait, February. So was the shoe was found that night though, right? The CERT team, right? The shoe was not found that morning. The shoe was found after the Gallagher group, right? Because they don't uncover the shoe. Do they uncover the shoe? Why can't I remember this? When is the shoe confiscated? Because remember when Proctor is at the hospital, there's only one shoe. He calls around. I don't know. You guys know. We're going to have to get this from you because I cannot remember, but I don't think so. CERT found the shoe. The hat was found the same day they found the straw. Okay. Thank you, Emily. Emily just texted me. Okay. So that's really helpful. So the hat was found with the straw on February 3rd. You got to be kidding me. Like, this is just like, right? Right? It's just insane. And the shoe is found with the CERT team. Right? I mean, I'd love to take a poll and maybe we could do this. I'll do this on like my YouTube thing tomorrow. How many people think that the Albert family is responsible for planting the shoe or the hat? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because at a certain point, this is a team effort, but I don't know that it has to even be like organized. You know what I mean? Like, you could have, Berkowitz and the Canton people, Sean Good, Mike Lang, that group. You could have them laying down some big taillight pieces, right? Like for weeks on end, while the people in the house throw down, the shoe and the hat and the straw. And it doesn't have to even be coordinated. It could just kind of be like, oh my God, look at what they found, honey, that kind of thing. But it's just so unbelievable. It's just so unbelievable. It's so unbelievable that the hat is not confiscated until February 3rd. It's so unbelievable. By itself, that's the evidence. That, by itself, that's just horribly damning evidence that somebody planted evidence, right? Just the fact that the hat's not even found till February 3rd. Horribly damaging. At 007 True Crime sends $1.99. John arrived at 34 Fairview at 12:21. Ricky and co lied. Oh, yeah. Well, no, Ricky and co definitely lied. For sure. That is for sure. For sure. The question is, they definitely lied. Yeah, no, for sure. They're all lying. I'm working on that. I have like simultaneously I have two projects going right now, at least two. So after Emily's interview yesterday with Adam Deitch, I immediately wanted to get that out quickly. I feel like that has like a time sensitive issue. So I'm like really, really aggressively trying to get that done. But I was already working on Ricky and Heather and Ryan so that everybody can see their bullshit. I am definitely investigating it. Here's the problem that we have with the time situation. We have these two distinct, very distinct and competing Commonwealth witnesses, right? Jessica Hyde and the Ways, and then we have Ian Whiffen and his analysis of where Karen is and whatever. And one says 12:21, the other says 12:24. So we have a 3-minute differential. This has been going on, by the way, since like the very beginning. And in my mind, it doesn't necessarily matter that much because we're simply talking about another 2 minutes or plus or minus 2 minutes. The general timeline, we know, right? We know that they're there between 12:21 and he dies. I'm sorry, I should say this differently. John loses his life between 12:21 and 12:26 at the latest. Because by 12:27, John O'Keefe is, already gone. By the time Julie Nagel walks outside, he is gone. So sad, but I am on it. Don't you worry, 007. We are on it. At Joy for Truth and Justice. Hi, Joy. For John O'Keefe is a member for 7 months. Hi, Sam. Happy anniversary. I watched the Monday Nooner. I love the award you received. It's perfect and much deserved. You're truly the best. We love you. Thank you so much, Joy for Truth and Justice. For John, you are the best and happy anniversary. My member for 7 months. At Romy in Mass is a member for 1 month. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. We've got to see justice for John, you guys. We got to get this Adam Deitch guy elected. He's our only chance. And what I got from him, and this is why I'm so eager to get this out to everybody, he said a lot to Emily, and he said it in a way where it's kind of like a lot of words. He's saying a lot. And I think when politicians especially do that, we kind of like gloss over, like our eyes just kind of roll in the back of our heads. We're like, all right, this just sounds like bullshit. But when you listen very carefully, he is speaking directly about this office, about Michael Morrissey, and about getting justice for John and Sandra. He really is. He really is. But I think he was very cognizant of us being his audience, and he wanted to put some distance there. He didn't want us to see him as what he is, which is the person who brought the case to Karen Reed that exonerated her. I mean, that is what he is. Like, when he's talking about Karen Reed and the Karen Reed case and the 3,100 pages of material that ultimately led to her, to ARCA and to Michael Proctor's text and now to Sean Good's texts, right? I mean, if you think about it, without Adam Deitch, we don't have the ham sandwich, and we don't have Rentschler, and we don't have the Crash Daddies, and we don't have, like, he's the guy, and he knows what happened, right? Like, he's our only shot. I don't know how else to say it. He's our only shot. Because the other thing that he made very clear in this interview is that nobody's coming from the feds to save it because that's not their job. That's what he's saying. He's saying, look, we were investigating corruption in the DA's office. And in the end, they decided not to bring charges. Ultimately, he talks about how Morrissey is just a talking head. He's not involved with the day-to-day, right? It's a favors kind of situation that, if you're in law enforcement, or if, we're friends from church or whatever, like, if, it's who you know. So his entire platform is about making it fair, making it not political, making it not about who you know, but making it about, equal opportunity for justice for everyone, bringing in the best of the best of the best, making sure everybody's trained at the highest level possible in that office, having the best police unit that you can get. He's saying all the good things. I think it was just came off, like as too many words, and it wasn't clear enough. His message wasn't clear enough. 007 True Crime sends $1.99. John never read Higgins' message. Someone else did. Ooh, I like it. I like that. So you're saying that, like, he didn't even see it. Somebody else picked up his phone at 12:25. It's possible. You're right. I mean, if he gets there at 12:21, then it absolutely could be somebody else's somebody else picking up his phone, without a doubt. And by the way, I don't know if I've ever made this clear before. I don't even remember when I learned this, but it was recent. The Ian Whiffen testifies that the last group of text messages, so that last the 12:32 phone engagement. So when he locks his phone allegedly for the last time, when John hits the lock button at 12:32, that whole little sequence of Doppler face IDs, that whole thing, Ian Whiffen is saying that the phone behavior changes at that point. In other words, the way that whoever is engaging with the phone is a way that he has not engaged with that phone before, which really sends off alarm bells. The Commonwealth tries to highlight that to make it sound like, oh, that's because he got hit by a car, right? That's why the Commonwealth is highlighting it. But in actuality, that doesn't even make sense, right? That doesn't, because once John's hit by a car, he's not using his phone at all. So it's not John using his phone is really the much more logical and obvious conclusion. So we know that at the 12:32 sequence of events on the phone, I think he checks a message. He reads something allegedly. I forget exactly what now off the top of my head, but that whole thing is not John. Now, is it him at 12:25? It may not be. I'm absolutely open to that possibility because, as I said, I'm open to 12:21 or 12:24. The thing right now, you already know this, you know where I'm going. If there's a 12:23 text message that is sent from Cedar Crest, that is the time I'm going to I have no choice but to go with. So, but I'm open either way. It could be either. I am absolutely open to either. At Michelle Mitchell, Claude Hopper became a member. Yay! Welcome, Michelle Mitchell, Claude Hopper. Welcome to the club. At Celine the Bean sends $1.99. If Colin enters the army, yeah, good question. So I'll read it to you, Celine. This is what I can tell you. All right. There is a Soldiers and Sailors Emergency Relief Act, which essentially, I guess, provides some type of, I don't know what it protects you from, but it's something that shields you from, I don't know if it's like civil legal action or criminal legal involvement. I'm not sure. But there is some possible way that he might be fighting testifying. And if that is true, by the way, Celine the Bean, if that's the plan, I mean, if this is really a thing, this Soldiers and Sailors Emergency Relief Act, if this is the thing that exists that somehow prevents Colin Albert from having to testify, despite the fact that he is a plaintiff in a civil legal lawsuit, then Colin Albert is the murderer of John O'Keefe. Okay? Did everybody just hear what I said? Because write that down right now. If that is legitimate, then he is the person responsible for killing John O'Keefe. Period. That is the end of the discussion. You see what I'm saying? I don't care how many fights that whoever got into, blah, 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 whatever. If these people are so worried about Colin having to testify that they file a lawsuit to try to make him seem innocent, but then pluck him out of his life and say, go into the military and go hide so that we can keep you from having to testify, even after bringing your own legal lawsuit, he is as guilty as they get. As guilty as they get. At Miss Home 66 sends $2. Where's his socks? Just glossed over. His socks, I mean, he's got them on. You can see them, Miss Holmes. I'm sure you've seen this already, but you can see them. And remember when I was investigating where John's body was? This was like probably October I'm guessing like fall. I remember it being cold out. You can actually see like the one sock. He's got the one shoe on. You can actually see the sock. So there's the socks. He had a sock on his foot that morning. Where did it go after that? Good question. At Night Owl Nurse became a member. Oh my God, really cute little logo thing. Welcome, Night Owl Nurse. We're super excited to have you. I myself am a Night Owl too. At Poppy Seed 5NR also became a new member. Oh my God, this is so exciting. It's like a new member festival. Welcome, new members. So let me show you, and let me also say this. We have question for you all. Who do you think is going to be the next person involved with this case, law enforcement professional, who resigns or is forced to resign or is retired or retires themselves? Who's next? Because I know who comes to mind for me, but I'm curious to see who you guys think might actually be the next one to fall. I don't think it'll be Yuri Buchanan. I will say that much. I think Yuri Buchanan, he's like the closest one of them all to being a real law enforcement person, who actually having like a legitimate law enforcement head on his shoulders. So I think there's the possibility. I don't think he wants to leave law enforcement or even close. So I'm wonder from you guys, who do you think might be the next to fall? That's question number one. And then the second question is, what was the other one? Oh my God, I wanted to ask. I forgot. I just lost it in my head. I had the second thing I wanted to ask everybody. I don't know. I think I'm going to put out a poll though, like in the next day, so that we can kind of try to work through some of this. But here's my takeaway, because I know now it's late. It's 10:30. So here's what we're going to end tonight with. The last 48 hours and everything else that I've looked at, you guys know how much I've been in this case for the last 2 months at least. But I mean in it, morning, noon, night. I'm having a very, very hard time. This is how I'm going to say it. I am having a very hard time believing that Colin Albert is not directly responsible for this. I'm having a very hard time. A very hard time. We are stripping away all of the lies. His timeline destroyed. His alibi, Allie McCabe, destroyed. The screenshots, they're gone, destroyed. So not only are those lies all lies, verified lies, he was there. So we know he was there. We know he had the ability because he was there. Then you look at the behavior of his parents, his father. You look at the fact that they filed this lawsuit, they make sure to include him, and then the very next day or a week later, I mean, he knew. Obviously, Colin Albert knew he was enrolling in the military, right? So he knew before yesterday when he decided to join and, be sent off to basic training. So it's not as though Colin Albert didn't know when he dropped the lawsuit a week ago that he was 2 weeks ago, whatever it is, that he was leaving. So what does that tell you? But the timing of all of this. Kid hasn't been doing shit for 3 years. Now all of a sudden he's leaving. He has to leave right now to go into the military right after this lawsuit is dropped, and they know he's gonna have to be deposed in all of these different cases. Yeah. That is a problem, ladies and gentlemen. That is a very, very real problem. At Reefer's Mom, hi Reefer's Mom, sends $9.99. I wonder if they investigated the bottom of the socks. John was a neat freak, and there would not be dog hair, and certainly not in the blood of course they didn't. No, because nobody wanted to know what happened to John. So no, nobody investigated that. if you haven't heard, and I think you probably have, Reefer's mom, but if you haven't heard the interview that Lucky did, the audio of the interview between Lucky and Proctor and Buchanan, go listen to that, because it's so obvious. It's just so painfully clear that they were not trying to figure out who killed John O'Keefe. Like they had no interest at all. It was like, either we're going to find information that proves Karen did this, or we don't care. In fact, we're not interested at all. Brian Higgins wasn't interested in Karen Reed, right? You know what I'm saying? So no, they definitely, didn't look at that at all. And I mean, to somebody else's point, Ms. Holmes' point, we don't even know where those socks are, right? Has anybody even know where they are? Well, I mean, there's no evidence logs legitimately, so there's that, but it's just so this case. You know what I mean? How they get away with this? How are they getting away with this? And it turns out, this is something I was going to ask Boozey about too, and I completely forgot. It turns out that Morrissey's DA's office had a history of not, of losing videos, so that they had done this in other cases. This is not the first time that evidence, really, really important evidence, just disappears, that there's no metadata. This wasn't the first rodeo for this group. So there's actually a track record of calling Crawford, editing videos. Listen, if I were one of these people, I would be very seriously looking at bringing a lawsuit on all of them, not just like all of these people. Just to stop them from doing it to somebody else. They need to be stopped. Like, enough of this shit already. At Barbara Kimball's 816 gives 5 membership. Thank you so much, Barbara. Oh my God, that's so kind of you. Thank you. And welcome to all the new members. And please check out the members stuff. We're coming up on a members only live. The last one was so much fun. The last one was it the Corey Richards trial, or was it? No, the last one was the night of the Gerhardt Koenig verdict. That was the last members live. It wound up being like that night. It was insane. It was the best time though, because it was such a high anxiety time. We got to be together for it. So maybe we'll get lucky again and it'll be something like that. It was so much fun. So for all of the new members, definitely watch the members only posts, because we're going to be announcing when our next members only live will be very, very soon, because we're coming up on it. Thank you so much, Barbara Kimball. And at Rue 9873 sends $4.99. Haven't heard much about the text message between Brian and Brian Higgins. You making us nervous. Wasn't that Kevin? I thought that was Kevin Albert that sent that to Brian Higgins. You're making us nervous. I don't think that was from Brian. I think that was from Kevin. Maybe they were both. Could have been both. But the text message that was like, "Where you been, bro?" That was from Kevin. Not from Brian, which is really weird. But you know what? I got to tell you, that's more evidence to the point that we were just talking about. Think about this. If you're Brian Higgins and you're solely responsible for this, and everybody knows that, are you going to distance yourself from the Albert family like that? Right? Are you going to do that? Or are you going to kiss their asses because you need them? Right? The way that he's acting is the other way around. The way that he's acting is like they need him. Do you know what I'm saying? This is not the first time I've made that observation out loud, but it seems like we're coming back around to it because of how guilty Colin is looking. Guys, remember how Hank Brennan insisted upon bringing Karen's words into trial because it was consciousness of guilt evidence, and he kept saying it. It was like obnoxious as hell to hear him say it over and over again. Consciousness of guilt evidence. Okay, this shit from Colin, this is evidence. This isn't just like, that's weird. It's not shady. It's consciousness of guilt evidence. Like, he's trying to abscond, to evade justice, to evade having to appear in his own legal case that he's bringing to have a valid reason to not have to show up and sit for a deposition. And Diller, how about this bullshit? Diller today told us, even though I won't go there. Diller today tells us that, oh, well, he sat down with Colin. Colin sat down with him, but not with Karen Reed's team. I don't know. This is so shady. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm always a little hesitant to say anything about like the legal stuff, right? Like, is that normal? Maybe that's normal. It doesn't seem like a normal thing to me. I was deposed once. Everybody was there. It wasn't like a one-sided thing. Like they were both there. Maybe that was not the standard. Maybe it's totally normal. That's why I don't bring it up, because maybe it isn't a big deal. But the fact that this kid is leaving town, he's like, oh, sorry, I'm gone. See you later. That is as fucking shady as it gets. And that is evidence. Don't let them fool you. That is evidence. That is absolutely evidence. Maybe it's time to go revisit some of Colin. I hate doing it because he's just so aggravating, but maybe it's time to take a closer look again. All right, you guys, it is that time. Everybody, thank you so much for another successful Wednesday Night Live. Be on the lookout for our next members only live. Welcome to all the new members. Thank you to those of you that have gifted members that are supporting me, supporting the show. Thank you. Huge thank you to Boozey Beauty, who is so amazing and so much fun to talk to. And I can't wait to bring her back and do it again. Thank you to Denise, who everybody knows is the greatest moderator in the game. No question about it. We love you, Denise. We love you. We love you. We love you. Everybody enjoy your Wednesday night. And I will see you again very, very soon.
It is the defense counselor's duty to protect the rights of the individual, as it is the prosecution's duty to uphold and defend the laws of the state. Justice for all. Only we have a problem here.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright.
This is me reminding you once again to like the video, like this video, like the video, like this video right now.